What's up, people? Hello. Quick. Gifted subs are 35. The gifted subs are 35% off. Someone gift a sub to keep the hype train going. It's about to die.
I was about to say mean things, but I can't say that. I didn't.
You have to. We gotta. Come on, people. They're 35% off. It's a special. This is the issue. Someone started a hype train before we got on, which means we couldn't push it. We couldn't get it amped. What's up? What's up with you?
Why are we in a leather jacket today?
Because I want to be stylish sometimes. Please allow it.
Right on air? Oh, whoa. Thank you, legit Hawaiian.
Whoa. Legit Hawaiian and Paladin Berserker both came through, I think.
Thank
yeah,
you,
Paladin Berserker subbed at tier 1. Legit Hawaiian gifted 5 subs. Oh my god, that bumped us right up from we might get a level 1 to we might get a level 3. That's crazy.
Listen to me when I tell you this.
If you don't have the money, that's fine. What are you telling me?
This was hard.
This was hard. I have to be real. I was reading this live on air while doing dumb voices, making jokes about things, doing improv riffs for 3 hours, joking with people, and I still teared up a little at 2 parts. Whoa, thank you, away. EKR. You walked away?
I walked away. I was like reading, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck you. And then I walked away and threw my kobo on the bed and was like, you can just burn in hell. And then I went outside. Whoa! Thank you so much, Haberfax.
Okay, thank you, Haberfax. Okay, people are gifting 10 subs, Haberfax? What the fuck? People apparently are very happy with our suffering. People love when we're in pain.
I went outside and I sat on a stump and I stared at the world and I was like, you know what? Fuck you. And then I tried to garden and then I came back inside and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna read again. And then I read for 10 minutes and then I was like, fuck you, and walked away again. And so what I did is a lot of swearing at my book and saying, fuck you, and then walking away and leaving my kobo on the bed. And then I came back in, and when the next time I left, I took my kobo and I put it outside because I was like, I don't want my bed to have to deal with your slimy pollution. And so I took my kobo outside into the world and I was like, cleanse yourself, kobo. My kobo feels super pissed at me for despoiling its pages.
Wow. Damn, okay.
And that's how I got through that. And
tell us how you really feel.
Lab was like, hey, do you need to talk to someone? And I was thinking, like, I don't think it's a good time to talk to me. Yeah. No.
Hype train level 6. Oh my god, thank you guys. I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're at, aren't we?
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't think people should talk to me right now.
It was somewhat brutal.
I did, however, start building the Sakura Densaya because I needed to do happy things.
Yeah, what's that? Who's that? What's a Densaya?
It's a book nook. It's a little lit up book nook.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I needed to do happy things and and then I played my little happy game, my little Spirit City. I got a kitchen. Yeah. I planted some plants. I still hated the world.
If I could recommend a way to get through the eclipse to anyone, it would be do funny voices, reading it out loud live for 3 straight hours with 100 people, cracking jokes. I think it's the easiest way to get through.
Yeah. Didn't you feel like your soul was dirty though? Like, how'd you cleanse your soul?
Chat protected my soul and I had to go do more work. Honestly, so this is actually true. This is actually really true. Will we discuss Wild at all? A little bit. I will discuss Wild insofar as I'm really glad you decided to read the whole thing and just shotgun the tragedy, because the fact that we don't need to dedicate a week to Wild is great.
Oh my God. I was so grateful for that. After I finished reading Wild, I was like, what if I'd had to like actually do an entire show about this shit?
Yeah. Like absolutely fuck Wild. Yeah, we'll talk a bit about it because I want to talk about Wild's impact on the story. And there's one unfortunate thing with Wild that I will have to compliment, but like overall feels kind of meaningless. Thank you, Justin. Justin Tabon's #1 fan. I wonder who Justin Tabon is.
Justin Tabon's #1 fan? That's a big crump. I don't know Justin Tabon, but like,
good job, Justin Tabon.
I don't even care if Justin Tabon is like a dude who works at Safeway.
Yeah, he's got a #1 fan.
To say you're somebody's #1 fan. I don't think Drawk is my #1 fan. God, who do you think it is? God, now I want to know who my #1 fan is. Whoa. Thank you, Old Bean.
Whoa.
Old Bean.
Whoa.
Do you think it's Old Beaned? Oi Beaned? Old Beaned? Company, you think you're my #1 fan? Dude,
Damn, you're going to have people debate. You're going to have people argue.
What if you see my face?
Can your husband be your #1 fan?
And you're like, I hate your face. Your face fucking sucks.
There's the two ways to look at can your husband be your #1 fan, right? There's the way where you say, well, shouldn't your partner be your #1 fan? And then there's the way of saying, well, you shouldn't be in a relationship with your fans because that's a power dynamic.
I'm not going to lie. My husband is not my #1 fan. Legit Hawaiian, I'll be your #2 fan. No, it's not bad.
You know what? I feel like that's a better goal to make.
Yeah.
And it also, it kind of means if we just lock you in her #2 fan, it means everyone else who's fighting over being your her #1 fan, like, is going to be shunted to 3rd place if they lose.
Oh, look, it's Stazzy Boy, the criminal.
It has been a while. Mama's okay. Mama, this was a lot. You know, you got to brace yourself.
Mama's fine, except for she is still coughing.
That's true.
I now have apparently scar tissue in my lungs and throat. So,
dude, there's so much gifting happening today.
Whoa!
We just met our sub goal finally. We've hit our sub goal. Stazzy Boy gifted, I think, 10 more subs. Oh my god, everybody! People love when we suffer.
I think it's because Stazzy Boy is like, remember that time that I made Mama read this and talked about a fire? Yeah,
this is a Stazzy Boy's apology. This is the apology of Stazzy Boy.
It's like, how's your day now, Mama? You enjoying the fire? You're doing the shit out of your fire, Mama.
We're gonna have no non-subbed viewers by the end of this.
Oh, I can't find my. Oh, you know that in the States they don't have Cepacol? Like, they don't have.
What the fuck is Cepacol?
You know the kind of you know the spray you can get and the lozenges you can get that freeze your throat? They don't have that. You have to get that through prescription.
I have never used those, but I've heard that.
They're
oh my god, more subs being gifted? Who was that? Oh, that was just a sub. That wasn't a gifted. Thank you, Liswange. Thank you, Lozenge. I'm sorry for saying your name so wrong. I'm trying. The lozenge was a joke, but Lusange? Is it French? Is it French and it's Lusange? Or am I crazy?
Or is it Farm Tech in the US? It's OTC in some states or not at all. Wow. Meanwhile, I just walked in and was like, I need 90 different kinds of Cepacol, please. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I decided, on top of trying to dress up more and be stylish, I decided on something else I'm going to do to be a better streamer. Do you want to know what it is? I'm going to try to make thumbnails better. And I think thumbnails do better. It's Louis Sanchez. Oh, okay. It's not Louis Sanchez. It's Louis Sanchez. Thank you, Louis Sanchez.
You can tell we're Canadian because both of us are like, Louis Sanchez.
Yeah, we see non-English, we see Romance language lettering, and we're like clearly French. We forget that like what is it like 30% of Americans speak Spanish or some crazy shit. I think I saw a statistic that was it's bordering on.
Justin.
I think it was bordering on more Americans speaking Spanish than Canadians speaking French at some
Number.
point. I might be crazy though. French isn't wrong. French is like French is fine.
Holy
Well, here's
shit,
the thing.
Haberfax.
Whoa,
That's
Haberfax. Wait, Haberfax, did you just get
What's
50?
number of subs.
Haber? That's what the fuck? What?
That's a fucked up number.
I was gonna respond to a comment, but now I'm lost in the sauce. I don't what happened to my brain. Holy fuck, Haber, what? I think we might not have unsubbed viewers viewing today at some point. I think there's gonna be no one. We have first-time chatters saying thanks for the gifty.
Haberfax just gave first-time chatters subs.
Haberfax is a reverse Griffith.
I need Haberfax to know that every time I see the name Haberfax, I think of Halifax, so I decide Haberfax is Canadian.
I don't think Haberfax is Canadian. Haberfax, if I'm not mistaken, is from the southern United States and has like a degree in southern U.S. history, if I'm not misremembering. Haber. Haberfax, that's incredible.
Oh. Haberfax is Canadian.
You did get a sub? Yeah.
Haberfax.
Not a degree,
Also,
getting
Haberfax
a degree. 1 month to go? Congrats, Haberfax. So many first-time chatters are subbed now being like, thank you. I've never seen so many first-time chats with the sub beside them. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Papa Drawk, we have had so many subs, and Haberfax just
oh my God.
50
10
people.
From EKR? Jesus Christ, people. Oh, good Lord.
Your father knows nothing. Do you know what your father just said?
What?
What's a sub? What's a
yeah,
sub?
That's fair. We got gifted a bunch of sandwiches. It's crazy.
All of the people can give each other gifts of subscriptions to this channel.
$200 for 50 subs is a great deal. Yeah, I mean, they are on discount. That's true.
It doesn't matter. It's still insane.
It's still insane.
Does Haberfax know that they're Canadian forever? Sorry, Haberfax, you're Canadian now.
Haberfax don't accept the invite for one crucial reason. You're being associated with Halifax.
No, Halifax is amazing. How dare you?
How
dare you, sir?
Wait. Is Halifax the cool one? Which one's the bad one? There's two that I always get confused.
What are you talking about? I need to know what book chapter 54 is, because that's where we started.
So here's the thing, right? Here's where I'm at.
Yeah.
There's the one where it's the only Canadian city that has a significant black population, and from what I've heard, it's pretty cool. And then there's the one that exploded. Is Halifax the one that exploded, or the one that is our only city that has a black population?
Listen to me. You are a weirdo.
Which one exploded? I get them confused.
I'm not even gonna tell you now. They're both great.
Okay.
One of them exploded. Why'd you tell them?
Halifax exploded? Okay, Halifax is the one that exploded. Okay. Cool.
It doesn't matter. There you go, Haberfax. Haberfax is happy to be Canadian. Do you know it's rare? You know how hard it is to get to Canadian to want you to be Canadian? It's rare.
I want everyone to be Canadian, but I'm an open borders advocate, so I'm an extremist.
The Reunion of the Abyss is where we started. What book is that in?
Well. Yes and no, because we read Wild. I think getting into it.
No, chapter 54 is what we read. I need to know what book it's in. That's where we start.
Oh, okay. Is that called 10. That feels crazy.
We are in volume 10.
You're starting on chapter 59. You read until chapter 50, the end of chapter 58.
The hype train's crazy today.
Chapter 59.
Okay, Bomb Digger, you're right that is significant for Canada, but there's one city, I think it's Hamilton. I think Hamilton has like a really significant black population, like a shocking amount for Canada. Canada's black population is usually very low because chattel slavery wasn't really practiced here to the same extent. Not at all. No, it's not Hamilton. That's only 4%. God, there's somewhere. It's not Hamilton. Yeah?
You're a weirdo.
Okay.
Here we go.
Is that true?
This.
The largest man-made explosion as of 1917, based Halifax, double Canadian. Would mean you started saying a boot. Go to rural Canada. If you go to rural Canada, you see the Canadian accent. Yeti Cool Brother volunteers to help increase the black population of Canada. Okay.
No.
That'd be cool.
Let me say 7 things.
So you can say 7 things. I'll allow it.
You're going to have a conversation with me. You're in this stream with me. It's going to be uncomfortable for you.
I'm listening.
I'm going to drag you into hell.
Where are we going?
Number two. I've driven all the way across Canada. There's almost no real discernible accent until you get to the far east coast. And then once you take a boat over to Newfoundland and Labrador, then you're like, oh, are we in Old Ireland?
I will say, if you get good at accent discerning, there are Canadian accents. They're just way more subtle than you'd think at this point. Like British Columbians, like us, we speak a distinct accent. And here's how I can let you know. The other day, I was at the Murphy Bed store, and the guy there sounded exactly the fuck like Ryan Reynolds. And that's when I realized, oh, we super do have an accent in the Lower Mainland and Vancouver Island, because Ryan Reynolds is from here and has the same accent as us. It's just more subtle accent differentiations. I can also, I can tell when someone's from Toronto. Here's me being a Toronto person. Hi there. It's nice to talk to you, YouTube. I bet you're having a great day. They start their sentences a little bit louder usually, and they're much more sharper in their pronunciation. British Columbians have what I've been told is called the warms.
Whoa. Thank you, Dr. Jack.
Oh my God, Dr. Jack, 20 subs?
Whoa.
It's
Dr. Jack, did you just sub up all the people who weren't subbed then? Is that it?
That's incredible. Done? This is nonsense.
Oh, we have a hype test.
Guys, our goal was 180 and we got to 250. This is insane. We get to open the hype chest. I'm going to click it.
Too late. I clipped it.
Oh, okay. Well, I clicked it too. So,
Running through Berserk in 10 days in order not to establish emotional bonds.
To be fair, the accent's more pronounced in Canadian French. I have been told that. 270. Righto. Insane shit. I like you people.
Dr.
Thank
Jack's
you.
way of not going insane. Rush through it in 10 days so you don't bond with any of the characters.
Here, someone has told me something. Chat has pointed out that we are being incentivized to go through emotional trauma because they give us more subs when we read things that hurt us more.
Oh, that's not a lie. Think about when I took a bunch of time off after reading my main boy Ace.
Oh, have you ever gotten a Newfie drunk is a great question. I'm going to be real, guys. The Newfoundland accent comes out the second they get a sip of booze in them, and that's so true. Newfies, when they leave the land, their accent melts away. It disappears. You'll be talking.
You have to travel across Canada, because when you go into Newfoundland too, they have an accent, but they have accents for each other, and then they have a different style accent for you. It's always there, but the one for each other is. You can barely understand people. People from Ireland who come over are like, "You're more Irish than me."
What I'm saying though is the Newfies, the accent for them, the accent for Newfies is the only one they can do when they drink at all. Every Newfie I've known, they're like, "Hey there, I'm from Newfoundland. Nice to meet you." And then they sip alcohol and they're like, "Oh, heading out here, boys. We gotta get down to the guns. Happened by the robbers, yeah. Well, you been there? Oh, you guys, I'm ducky. Oh, you can't even answer when you're down there, can you, ma?" And I'm like,
"Thank you, Stazzy boy." Listen to me when I tell you this. You've got to travel Canada. Nothing is more interesting than going across and hearing it. But here's the good news for you. Your father and I have this idea where you travel with me, and then he gets off work two weeks later, and next summer we travel, not this one coming up, the one after. Yeah. You drive across Canada with me, and then we fly you back at the East Coast.
Oh, thank you, Tomanov, for subbing with Prime. Hell, 8 months. That's fucking awesome. Let's go. If you ever heard me, you'd immediately hear your Michigan accent. All the words just kind of lean up against each other. Oh, what I was saying is the BC accent is, this is going to sound bad. I think it's called the warm slur because we slur our words slightly, but in a way that isn't enough to remove pronunciation. It just makes it feel less robotic.
Hey, I'm doing this now. Are you coming on the journey with me?
Wait. Before we come on the journey, I need to get back to another thing because someone said,
No.
but aren't the thumbnails your art? That's right. But apparently YouTube thumbnails do better if they have faces in it. And I want to try that. So guys, Mama Drawk, I need you to spend you're going to do something right now. You are going to spend literally 1 minute being a model director, telling me what faces to make so that I have stuff I can cut out with my big face cam on to put my face on a thumbnail. Can you meet this task before we begin?
I'm a genius.
Someone saying open mouth?
What is it that dude says? That's a pretty good one, but try another one.
The sub was on me. Okay, direct me.
That one's too surprised. Can you try looking crushed? No. Okay, even more crushed. Destroyed. Try looking destroyed. There. Actually, that one is good. Because it kind of asks why? Why? That's what we're looking at. There we go. Actually, that's my favorite.
I wish the sub thing wasn't over my face this whole time. This is great.
You have to. The crushed one is really good. Thank you, Agent Lamar. Agent Lamar. Award goes to Drawk.
I tried to move out of the way of the sub thing, and I moved right into it. It was fully on my face.
Do it again. Ready?
Okay, ready?
Get in the corner and get really crushed. No, that's too happy. Yeah, that's actually I'd click that one. Oh, that's amazing.
That's so funny. 2 hands on your face like you're going, know why? Someone asked if I have a prop weapon available. Sorry, Pikachu, I'm borrowing your sword. Do.
No, you know what you need?
Hey, wait, Enma's not good enough?
You need a tissue.
There's a tissue right here from when I was dusting. Someone's saying I should commit seppuku, and then that would be a good one.
No, Chat, that's not a good one.
Chat, what do we think? We can't see the sword,
I think it'll get you subs. No, you're not allowed to commit seppuku.
What do we think? Is this good?
No. No, man. Nobody wants you to commit seppuku.
People are liking it.
Look
at Pikachu with Enma. I haven't bought a stand for Enma yet, so Pikachu gets Enma. It's his sword.
Okay, do you have a tissue?
Do I have a tissue? Yeah, I have a tissue.
Exactly. Thank you, Jelly Gremlin. I couldn't say that, but that's the truth.
I didn't think I had tissue, but I just dusted, so I actually do have tissue.
Okay, ready? Cry into the tissue.
Okay, I gotta move to this side so I'm out of the way of it.
Ready and
I'm
cry.
so sad. I'm so sad.
That's
the things. Blowing my nose.
Yeah, there you go. You're a weirdo.
How we doing, people? Real tears. I can't do a facepalm. I think we got to stop. We have to move on. This was very fun, but we do have to move on.
Okay, listen to me, Drawk. You have a tendency when you're in a fun mood to talk over me.
That's true.
Today, if you do, I will beat the crap out of you.
That's true. I am in a fun mood, and that tends to be where I'm at my worst for talking over you. What do we think of Quebecois becoming independent?
Saying that.
Probably someone asked.
Nobody
probably
becomes independent right now.
Nobody. We got to have unity. Frankly,
right where we are.
Frankly, the best solution. None of us are independent. We join the EU, and it becomes a proper federation. Anyways,
Please stop making me cough. I'm just one kid.
Hey, but think about it. If we became part of the EU and then federated, we'd have nukes.
No, hey, think about it. I only want to federate once we have starships.
All right, now we can start.
Although I would like to federate and be part of the I'd like to be part of the EU just so that I could hang out there for longer.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
No,
That would
Bomb
be
Digger,
cool.
we're not joining the US. That's the problem. That's why I'm
That's
joining
the
the EU, is
opposite.
to not join the US.
That's the opposite of what we're interested in doing right
I'm
now.
specifically trying to not be part of the US. And that's the goal right now. I don't know if you guys have seen how things are going. Like, look, you know our politics. I'm going to be real. Your dude is right. The guy in charge is right. He's going to get immigration numbers down because who the fuck wants to be there right now? Who the fuck wants into that country?
Scary right now. We don't want to do that. Okay,
Like,
you ready?
yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready as fuck, dude.
All right, you listen to me when I tell you this.
You listen, boy.
You're hanging with me. You're sticking
I'm
with me
hanging.
here. We're a team. We're riding into battle. Get
We
on
are
your
a team.
horse.
That's true. I have a horse.
Get on your horse.
My
Saddle up,
horse's
biatch.
name. My horse's name is Midnight Blaze. What's your horse's name?
That's a freaking cool name. My horse's name is Cinnamon Toast.
Hell yeah, Cinnamon Toast and Midnight Blaze.
Hey, thank you, Griff. You know who bought him that leather jacket for Christmas? That's right. That's me. That's
What
right,
you don't know about
that's me.
about it? Orange lining.
Yeah.
I also accidentally
Way
whipped
cooler.
Bellamy in the head with it once because he was closer than I realized while I was taking it off, and now every time I take it off or put it on, he runs away.
I can't have Black Beauty crass because literally every time I think about Black Beauty, I think about crying, and I think about the fact that I cried in front of my class while we watched the Black Stallion.
All right, so we good. I think that sounds like we're ready.
I was born ready.
I feel
Come
bad
on,
for
Cinnamon
Bellamy
Toast.
too. It's not his fault. Come on, Midnight.
Let's go, Cinnamon Toast.
Put rubber to the road. And then Midnight Blaze goes, why do I have rubber horseshoes?
We got this.
Wait,
Time to rock it out.
Wait.
Book 11. What?
Someone said points. Okay, it's points. It's points. I thought someone was saying subs, and I was like, what the fuck? No, they're just giving us points for the jacket. All right. So I think we kind of need to start by talking about Wild, because he did happen, and I think we should address it. I think.
Listen, you know where we are in actuality is not Wild.
Okay, well, it is Wild, but
we're
go
in
for
the
it.
Devil Dog chapter.
Oh, you
right
want to switch
now,
out a
and I
big
do-
cam? You're right. I do that. I switch out a big cam sometimes.
Devil Dog. It's a place with devils and apparently
Guys, we're not talking
dogs.
about
Here we
politics
go.
anymore. We're done with that. We're moving on to talking about worse things. better. Actually,
Okay.
frankly, happier things.
Focus.
Yeah.
You have to
Devil
delete your
dogs.
art already.
Wow, that's
Haberfax
crazy.
Deleted your art.
I guess
Just
that means I'm
get rid
safe
of
from
it
it for the
all.
rest of it. But now I gotta think through how to do it.
Haberfax. Start over and begin again.
Well, I'm gonna.
Good. Here we go. Griffith did nothing wrong?
Jesus Christ, no.
No, man. Don't be a Griffith apologist. We talked about this. You don't want to go there. The king, PPSS, the king that we start with here, with his melted side-away face, who blames Griffith for the fact that he is a disgusting clod of dirt. That's not fair. Dirt's nice. Whoa. Thank you, Stazzy Boy. Stazzy Boy,
Yeah,
did
20 more subs. Stazzy Boy
gifted.
gifted 20 subs earlier. Yes,
That's insane.
that makes 40 minimum from Stazzy Boy, unless I missed more. Did Stazzy Boy just give 20 more? Is Stazzy Boy just trying to outdo Haberfax? But also, thank you. Also, do we have a sub war? What is happening?
There aren't even that many viewers. People are gonna have them forever. Listen to
Oh my
me.
god.
The king in here is dog poo's not that bad either. Is decomposing body. That's what the king is.
The king is in a bad way.
Decomposing body, and he looks like he is. Like his heart shows on his face. You know the picture of Dorian Gray?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Great
Unlike
concept.
the picture of Dorian Gray, the king just wears who he is and what his soul is like right on his person. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what he looks like. He looks like what he is. And seeing him all wrecked like that made me really happy. But then to go back and find out that the piece of shit king knew exactly who he had hired when he hired the dog and knew that he was raping and torturing people and just kept sending him away from his kingdom so that he wouldn't do it close to him.
There's some commentary here.
As if you weren't bad enough already. New levels of hatred.
There's some commentary here that I find so interesting because a lot of people, even his wife who didn't love him, was like, yeah, he's a good king. But it shows how much to be a good king. You don't have to be a good person. You just have to make things good for your people. That's how you get perceived as a good king. Like, there's something very interesting about this.
And the fact that people are claiming good kingmanship to him, there's nothing good about him. Like, did he have a way of ruling his kingdom? I guess. But is that way also include making some members of his kingdom are tortured, murdered, raped?
Well, and he just gives people the wild too.
Sexually assaulted? Yes. So it's wild to me that.
Well, she said it. She said the word.
It's wild to me that we're able to say that he is a good king at all. Like, at all. So I was like, could not be happier to see this little piece of trash melt. And really glad to see that he has melty face now. Also, I know that later on we're going to talk about how Juno dies and everyone's going to be like, Juno died. So did everyone else.
Yeah, but his death was better.
Whatever.
Juno got the best death in this entire section.
Well, yeah, because it proved when he died, he proved what I said. He saw Casca not as his commanding officer, but as a woman that he loved. And that's why I think that he tried to take, I don't even know what the word is, but he would take risks in things that he said that you wouldn't do if you weren't in love, as if he was trying to create familiarity between them.
I agree. And I think that is good writing for his character for two reasons. The first being that he acted less soldierly than any other character in their group. Everyone else was more of a soldier, whereas he was still a thief who was
to have a relationship without having a relationship.
And then the other reason is I think that's why Casca, being who she is, made that her right-hand man, because I think she valued someone being as her right hand, being willing to go against that sort of expectation. I think the thing is, I think he would be a really bad normal soldier and was a good right-hand man for her because that's what she wanted.
Think that she wanted to be bossed around in the way that he said things like, let's see, you sit back there. Not maybe you should sit back there. Just you sit back there.
Watch she respected it and went with it.
No,
she went with it.
I think that she didn't respect it so much as she was just used to Juno being a bossy little dick.
That's who she kept as a right hand.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? Fire somebody or have a conversation with somebody? Like, to me, you can tell when somebody is crushing on you. And I think that, and it becomes awkward and uncomfortable. And he's very, very important to everyone else. So she can't get rid of him. But he bosses her and treats her in a way almost like he's trying to have this relationship with her that he can never have. And yeah, it's good writing, but it proves what I said, that he's being a dick, he's being disrespectful to his commanding officer, and he's not a good soldier, and I don't enjoy him. When he died, I was really happy for him that he died in a way where he got to be all like, have a great death. Good for you. That's nice. But I wasn't, I wasn't crushed. I was like, oh.
I was pretty heartbroken. That's one of the places that even reading live, I teared up a little because we'll get to the details later.
Yeah. I just think that in this one, when he said, you just sit in the back with him and with Griffith and keep him up. And it was just like, he felt so comfortable bossing his commanding officer around. I think that when your commanding officer is a woman who you know has to work harder than everyone else to garner the same level of respect, that you as their right-hand man should be showing her ultra respect in order to make her job easier. It is a shit job to not be doing that. And I know that people are all like, I love Juno and his 4-year-old face and the way that he bosses Casca around. And all I've got to say is, I wasn't all that crushed when he died.
All right.
Pippin, on the other hand, when Pippin died, I thought that I was gonna.
No, Mama is right that he did like supersede and was like, "Hey, I'm telling you what to do," while she was the boss. That did happen. I don't know. I respect him. I think he was doing the best, and I think there's a reason Casca kept him as her right hand, because that's where he was most useful. I think he was a worse soldier than he was a friend.
I think he was mid. I thought Pippin was so amazing, and when
Pippin
was
adds
killed,
so much in the few places that he was like a vocal presence.
Unlike Juno, who I just Pippin
Judo,
was his own person. Yeah, I don't care. Pippin was his own person, and he had a strength for everyone. It felt like, unlike Judo, who is all like focused on one person and focused on being too familiar with that person, that Pippin was focused on the everyone. And when Pippin put himself at the front, he was basically saying, like, I'm going to do what I can for everybody. I need to die first, because watching everyone die, that's too much for me. I can't do that. I know what's going to happen here, and I'm going to be the line. What if my death saves them? And if it doesn't, at least I'm dead. And
that's the vibe I got.
That was just like, ooh. But we're not there yet, so let's move forward. You know why I'm talking about it a little bit, though?
Yeah.
So I can soften the blow. By the time we get there, enough
I agree.
I won't leak out.
Can we say of all the things in Wild, I want to talk about the few things I like. I think we should breeze through. Can I pitch to you that so that we can have more time to talk about the good part of this? Because this is so many more chapters we normally read that instead of your normal chapter by chapter thing, we just breeze through to moments, and then we can go chapter by chapter when we hit the eclipse.
Yeah, and we don't even need to do chapter by chapter at any point, really, unless like it becomes necessary.
Because I want to briefly talk about the things that I think were good in the Wild arc. For me, one of the biggest things is the way they show off Wild being a big deal by having the horse suddenly appear skewered on the tower was terrifying and so specific and well done. Or no, it wasn't a horse, it was the dude. It was a dude. I'm thinking of a horse later. The fact that the dude was just instantly on the tower, I think that was fucking awesome. I think that was radical.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. But you know what was crazy about Wild? Like, there's parts of it that are worth talking about for sure.
Yeah.
The fact that we go back to the family and they're such good people and they still have so much faith in people they shouldn't have faith in, PPSS. And they work so hard. And then we see that disgusting piece of crap come and R-word her and pull them apart and murder them and then use their bodies as weapons and pull them into battle.
Yeah.
It was, everything about it was terrible. Especially like he's R-wording her beside her dead child's dismembered head.
Oh yeah, it's as gratuitous as possible just for. So I want to talk about what I think the intention of some of these parts were and why I think the author felt like Kenny Boy felt like he needed to include this section. I think so far he'd shown us mostly honorable demons to basically highlight that Griffith is worst of the worst. And I think this was him reminding us, no, demons are atrocious monsters. Because Zod had a sense of honor. Slugdad had a sense of honor. The demons we've gotten to know have some semblance of honor to them. So to me, this was him trying to tell us, this is how depraved demons can be.
Yeah, and there's also something about it that I think reminds us that this is who Griffith is at his core.
Yeah, this is what he's become. This is what he associates himself with for power.
It's more like this is who he's willing to be. Like, he knows this, he sees this. It is still like, oh, well, He fights against them. He knows what they did to him. They hear the rumors come back about what happened to the family. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's not best, but if I get to have a great body and be back and be kingly, then oh well. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I agree. It's interesting how Wild is so insignificant that when we finished last week, everyone forgot that he was going to happen. They thought we were going right to the eclipse. They literally forgot. But there is still stuff worth talking about. What else do you think is worth talking about in this stretch?
That it's an opportunity for us to see how strong Guts is.
Absolutely. It's the first time he beats a demon. He beats an otherworldly thing, and everyone is fucking blown away.
And it's also a great opportunity for us to see Casca's mind at work, blowing up the bridge and other aspects. So I don't buy the idea that Casca was overwrought and needed somebody to take care of her. Casca's mind is very focused and strong. Well, otherwise, she wouldn't be a leader.
I think it was a chance to show us her leadership skills and the fact that she makes a good mercenary, like the fact that she was doing a very good job holding this together. Like if she wasn't against something otherworldly, she would have won with that plan.
And even still, like they managed to gain some distance in that moment. But I also thought that it was a really good opportunity because when Dog Boy blows up and becomes bigger, we get to see just how ridiculous and overpowered they can become. And it tells us a little bit of the lore of the afterworld. Of him saying, like, use your bell hat and call the gods and bring them down. You're supposed to be this one.
I love his desperation and how little he cares for order and is just selfish, that he's like, no, do it early. Come on, bitch, bring him down. Come on.
It's also good because you're seeing the levels of depravity. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And you know that there is communication, power structure, and some non-chaos within the chaos of demons, because we find out here that he has had a conversation about Griffith with Zod.
Yeah. I think there's a lot there. I'll also say one of the things I hate about the section most is that in the middle of something that we both agree as vulgar and unnecessary, and I think you can have vulgar and necessary, but vulgar and unnecessary becomes a thing that feels like it's just for shock value. And we'll talk about the impacts of what happened to Casca a little bit, because it's not... Kenny Boy is not a bad enough writer that he just does something for shock value and then throws it away and doesn't have it impact the story. I think one of the things that makes it grossest and hardest to get through is that he really does consider the impact of it. But in the middle of that, we get what I think is unironically the best fight in the series so far as strategy, choreography, and art, which is, it kind of sucks that the best fight in the series, in my opinion, includes something I hate.
Yeah.
Like, that's difficult, right? That's...
Yeah.
But it's a good fight. It's a really fucking cool fight.
Yes. It's...
Yeah. That's exactly that noise. That's the feeling.
Yeah. Those are the sounds I made every time I would chuck my book and walk out.
Fair.
Like, the R-wording moment in this one with the piece of shit who unzips his center chest. That also, ew.
Gross. I think a great monster design, though.
Yeah, I mean, he was horrifying. Also, his naughty bits came from a very strange place. But, the R word in this one was just so, it felt, okay.
Yeah.
It felt so wrong. Okay, but Griffith falls on top of her after this,
yes,
right?
Which I think...
So can I just say one thing?
You say it, and then I'll say what I said on our call after you finished.
Yeah, because you said the thing you're about to say.
Yes.
And then it made me think about this just now as we were reading it. He watched what happened to Casca.
Yes.
Saw that she had been attacked by a demon.
Yeah.
And that it had sexually assaulted her. And pulled her apart in front of everyone. And he thought that it was still okay to try and assault her afterwards.
Yes.
So when you say your thing, it'll have more impact. But for me, when I watched this afterwards, I started to think just now, like, he showed his whole character and who he was and what he was willing to become in that moment. You watch somebody go through the hell and your immediate thought isn't, how can I protect them? How can I make them feel their power again?
Yes.
How can I have my friend who has gone through this bullshit feel like they have agency over their own life? Your immediate thought is, if I could also R-word her, then I would have power and dominion back.
So here's the thing. I think what's great about Griffith, and you've said this too, is that you can read so fucking many actions. Anytime that he's not breaking, you can read what he's doing two ways. You can read this way that Casca did of, oh, Griffith is reaching out to me to comfort me and he's too weak and fell upon me. But like, I definitely more felt that it was that he looked at what Wild did as, oh, I wish I could do that to empower myself and feel like a man too. Yeah. Because I think he didn't just feel emasculated by Wild there. I think he felt emasculated by Guts, because his goal was to become beyond human, and Guts did that. Guts did become more than human, and he is this shriveled, broken man who just wants to feel like a powerful person again. He just wants to feel like he can take his will on others again. And that's in that moment when Casca is being written very well. Like, that's, again, one of the things that makes it hardest is her response to what happened is so well written. She feels like what a strong warrior woman who just went through that and it's not just the shock and pain and horror of it, because I genuinely think with how much she thought about the life she almost ended up with, she is somewhat braced for that. It's the humiliation. I think that's what was hurting her the most, and that it felt like it was being written that way.
Exactly. And so and this is why, and I know that you want to roll your eyes every time I say it, but it's important to me. This is why also Judo's character upsets me, because she has to endure the slights and misogyny of everyone and the risk of R-wording all the time. And these types of things happen to her. So he should be, if anything, empowering her as a person and not like commanding her when she's a commanding officer. Because she needs to constantly have somebody who is, especially her right-hand person, who is hyping her power.
I agree to an extent. You said something earlier, and then immediately after, while I was mulling it over, chat paraphrased it. And you know when you hear something twice with two different phrasings and it helps it sink in better? I love Judo as a character. I think he's really well written. But I do think there's a level of disrespect. There's a level of disrespect to the fact that he assumes he knows best. Now, I think sometimes he does know best, and Casca knows that, and that's why she respects what he says. But I do think it is disrespectful the way he communicates it sometimes. And I feel like what I'm realizing is it's like a similar version of Griffith wanting to R-word her because it's a wanting to seize masculinity. But the reason it's less toxic is because instead of it being, I'm going to highlight what makes me feel like a man, which is the fact that I have power over you and can take you, it's, I want to flex what makes me feel like a man, which is, I'm a level-headed person. I am the person who can see the win condition.
It's still a form of power, Drawk. So he's still trying to have a form of power over her by doing things like sit down beside him and make sure he doesn't fall over. And you know that Tony would have said, he's not going to be like, hey, do you think it's good if you... It's written as, sit down beside Griffith and make sure he doesn't tip over. That's still a form of power that he shouldn't be exerting over somebody who's a superior officer.
You know what I'm finding
I think I just got to say, this is the same thing that I see in Griffith. Very different.
It's not as toxic of it, but it's not as toxic. But I think it's meant to be the same, toxic. I think, because this is a really good writer who creates parallels. I think this is meant to be something you can see is very similar.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say. When people keep harping on me about not liking him, it's because I am a woman, and lots of women don't read it this way, but lots of women aren't 52. I'm 52. I've lived a lot of shit. I've seen a lot of things. I've been in a lot of circumstances. When I read this, I see a woman who is having to fight against all the misogyny of this universe and the world that she's in. And this other man is also trying to exert his force and power over her to make him feel like a man because he knows he can never have her. And then Griffith is the exact same character, but turned up into gross.
You know what I find interesting that I'm realizing in talking about this?
Yeah.
Pippin is actually the same, but with guts instead of casca.
Interesting. Yes.
So hear me out. Hear me out, right? Because Guts is his commanding officer, and he's still willing to do stuff. But the difference is each of them are flexing what they have. Guts and Casca both are more emotional than Pippin and Judo. Pippin and Judo keep a level head better than Guts and Casca, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we see all the time, Pippin's the one who forces his will on Guts using his sheer strength to be like, hey, buddy, I'm going to force you into making the right call. And meanwhile, Judo is the one using his cunning and words to be like, hey, buddy, I'm going to force you into making the right call. And I think like there's actually a bunch of moments I can think of where Pippin is just this wall who puts himself in front of Guts' decision making.
Yeah, I would agree. The difference is you can feel that there's more obvious respect, and it almost feels like Pippin's respect just comes for the name, not the person, and for the love, not the position.
You
and
mean
so
Judo,
in my
but yeah.
universe, Judo. And so for me, I feel like her
are they
position
equal?
deserves respect. No, I don't think so.
I thought Guts was his superior because I thought Pippin was one of the raiders. Is he not? I thought he was. I might be misremembering.
Regardless,
at this point, he's not a raider.
Casca's not equal.
Yes,
okay,
I think there's something. He was not a raider. Okay, someone's correcting me. Either way, I think there's something very interesting to this. Like, there. Oh God, I really love how deep the parallels of characters are.
I hate the way they show Griffith. The fact that he throws himself on top of her and she sees it as this like pleading moment of his weakness, is fantastic because if you're a proper reader, you know when you've seen her go through the humiliation that she went through and the strength she's had to pull out now that happened to her with the stupid gross dog demon. I'm just going to call him dog demon. Any reasonable human being would be like, how can I make this person feel stronger and more capable in their own mind? And instead, he's like, how can I continue to use this person that I saw weakened, that I know Guts is in love with? I saw Guts do things I can never do. How can I take some of his power by taking her power?
So something I want to briefly talk about here that I just thought about, my brain's not working. I can't talk right. This leads into what I think is the best scene of this entire first section of reading, which was originally going to be our video this week, before we decided to shotgun it. I think the scene where Griffith is shown a vision of what life would be like if he gave up and just lived a normal life might be one of the most, if not the most beautiful scenes in the series. And the fact that flashback of a beautiful, peaceful life as a crippled man who is loved and taken care of and has children he is able to raise despite being broken, and that terrifies him, says so much about him. He finds it disgusting when you're shown in this world of horrors, he has the option to live peacefully.
Yeah. And he's like, ew.
Oh,
that's horrifying. I could never do that. That's everything. That tells you everything you need to know about him.
What a beautiful scene, though, right?
Oh, yeah. It's well done as shit. Like, so well done. Because you're
I think, and this is crazy, it may be my favorite scene in the series, and maybe that's just because one of the themes we've noticed the most and harped on the most about is the idea that you can give up, that there is no dishonor in living a normal life, that there's something beautiful about being human, about accepting yourself beyond a story and a mission, that being a person is something you should celebrate.
It's not even a give up, because if you look at the blacksmith, he didn't give up on shit.
No.
He became something more by deciding that he was a normal man.
You're right. So it's not even about give up. It's just about accept that the narrative you've imagined for yourself doesn't need to be true. Now, but then again, we've talked about how the blacksmith is the same as Griffith in some ways. The parallels in the series are really fucking cool and layered, where characters will be the same and different in different ways, which is awesome. But yeah, you could just accept the path you've taken and live this life with someone who loves you and still be friends with Guts, clearly, as he's in and out of the world. It's just, I don't know. Not everyone has to be the protagonist, and he sees that truth, and it terrifies and disgusts him.
Yeah, he hates it. It horrifies him. It's the most disgusting thing he could imagine. Way more disgusting than, say, trying to R-word somebody after they had been R-worded.
Yep. God, what a scene. And he immediately steals a horse with his broken body and rides off to his destiny, having been shown what giving up on it means, and seeing something that seems genuinely beautiful to us, the viewer, and he's disgusted and throws his broken body
runs as far and as fast as he can
away from that vision. He sees that she is willing to give up on her life for him to take care of him and give him comfort in thanks for the purpose she's been given by him. And he hates it. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful storytelling in this section.
It kind of reminds me of Every Human, though. The reason that I think it works is think about all the people who would rather die than rely on other people.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why other people can be like, even though it's horrifying, I get it.
Someone's saying it can also be read as him trying to kill himself, which again, that's what's great about Griffith, is you can constantly read everything he does two ways.
You can always read him more than one way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's not skip the part where Casca holds her stomach. I mean, guys, we're going to have to go back to that anyways.
Don't even. I can't even.
It's one of the most fucked up parts in this, huh? That's been haunting me.
Yeah.
Don't you love being haunted?
No, I don't. That is why I kept going outside and being like, no.
And
then I think at one time I was like, Stazzy boy! I screamed his name into the other worlds.
So I misunderstood. Apparently Wild did not fully succeed in R-wording Casca. He was interrupted. I thought he had by the time Guts got involved. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I had noticed that. Maybe, look, it made me uncomfortable and I might have skipped through too quickly because that slightly changes things.
I felt like when I was looking at it, but it was great there. Yeah. I also didn't go in because she'd be dead, given the shape and dimension.
It was a bad... Okay, can we actually... I want to talk about this briefly, and this fucking sucks to talk about, but now that you mention it...
goes in or not? No.
Well, now that you mention it...
no bueno.
It is so important to actually note that as a design choice, because it was a way of, through illustrative design, to indicate that Wild, despite being a guy who's defined by fucking constantly, in his demon form, his dick is not there for sex and pleasure. It is just there to
murder.
Take. He sees sex as an act of conquest and taking and nothing else. And that's reflected through his design. And this is gross. This is a gross thing to say, but it is good monster design.
The reason that I think that's very important is because, and people aren't going to like this, is because I think the author is making a commentary on many men who don't see women as people and see sex as just a conquest and a taking of, and don't want to be with them. And I think the author is making kind of this thing that's saying that everyday men can also be monsters.
I could see it. It does feel like it could be commentary. Most monster designs are meant to be commentary on aspects of humanity. So I think you're right.
I think because look at what happens afterwards with Griffith and the way that he chucks himself on her while he's still just a regular man.
Mm-hmm.
And he's using her and her vulnerability as a way of strengthening himself. So I think he's just saying this is every man can be a monster.
I mean, there's something baked into that in the series, because this is a series where everybody can be a demon. Demons are not born demons. Demons are humans who put themselves before others. That is inherently what demons are. And a failure to become a demon is a failure to put someone in particular below you. Slug Dad died because he couldn't put his daughter below him in terms of value. That
But I
is
think
the nature
it's
of
more
demons
important here because he makes them look like such out of human characteristic that I think it's really important when he makes theirs be human level things, right? Like this thing is out of control in being something that is demonic and strange and not the same as a human, and yet he's still doing the same types of human evils. And then, as if to emphasize it, Griffith does the same thing. Well, tries.
Oh, I know it's not just people, it's the people they value most, but it's what I mean is people in the abstract. Like, you become a demon by putting all people beneath you. There is no one who is more important than you. That's how you become a demon in this world. So I feel like it's a way of making commentary. You have characters like Wild and, I'm guessing, Slan, who are willing to hurt others for sexual gratification. And then you have others like Griffith who are willing to hurt others for power, likely Zod as well. Which is interesting. So for the story, every time we've seen sex or intimacy, it's been accompanied with violence. Yes, and the way it's done with Casca and Guts is so good for that reason, because the violence is accidental and they confront it. And like, God, that scene. Some of the scenes in this are really good. Have you noticed that Berserk has some good scenes?
Have you noticed that it's the worst and yet also the best?
It really is. It's both at the same time.
Truly just fucking terrible, and then also like just really good.
Okay. If watching a good superhero movie is like eating a really good burger, this is like eating the best open concept Mexican food you've ever had, but it's so spicy you're crying.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's say this again now, Drawk. Like, let's say this for the cheap seats.
Yeah.
So we can get this out there. If you're a person who hasn't read it and you've only watched the anime, I mean, really, fuck off. You've not done it, right?
You should read this. It's very good.
No, fuck off. You've not done it right. And now that I'm at this point and I know what I know, fuck that. If you haven't had to watch Griffith be the man we knew who he was before this occurred, you have not done Berserk right. And I don't care if you think you have. I don't care if I piss off all of the people in Berserk land. No, you're wrong. You've done it wrong.
I cannot. Like, if you pitch the idea of skipping the prologue to your friends, that's insane to me, because like, we've talked so often about the thing that makes Griffith written so well is that, except for these brief moments of breaking, you can read everything he does two ways. How do you write a character like that? On a fucking tightrope. Exactly. And I think you lose noticing that. You won't notice that fact unless you know how he ends up. I think the prologue is so necessary for seeing the nuance in Griffith's writing.
It's just wild to me that anyone is like, there's lots of ways of seeing it, and the anime always choose. No, shut up. Wrong. I don't often say that people are just wrong. I think there are multiple ways of watching Star Wars. Do it what you want. There are multiple ways of reading different types of books. This one was written that way for a particular reason. He is trying to tell a story in a particular way. And if you haven't done that, it is just not done service to the author's work.
Yeah. And I think like, it reads fine as a typical story, but Berserk has the potential to be so much more than a typical story about a betrayal that surprises you. And the fact that there are people who would rather preserve the surprise and shock of betrayal over this constant dread of analyzing someone you know is a monster inside and watching that unfold and trying to determine where the monster ends and the human begins. That's so much cooler. That's so much fucking cooler than just a surprise that hurts your feelings.
Much cooler. And who cares about hurting your feelings? You want your feelings hurt? Send me a message. I'll hurt your feelings. That's not enough.
Jesus Christ, that was the most baller thing. I also want to say, well, we're just talking about Berserk on the whole. This little conversation about Wild and being able to extract the meaning from an area that, like, I think is less significant than everything else we're going to talk about by far, and I understand why people forgot about it, has reminded me of something. This is such a strange series because it's so layered and deep and has so many nuances in its writing, but is so painful that I genuinely like Berserk more when I'm discussing it with you than when I'm reading it. And it's not like I don't like reading it, but it's so much more fun diving into it than just being on your own.
There was moments when I was like, I'm not reading anymore. Screw this shit. I'm not reading it. And then I remembered, Drawk and I are going to talk about it. And I love talking about it. And I think it's fun.
It's so fun to talk about.
And I was like, all right, you got to push through. You got to push through.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be as fun to talk about if it wasn't like two people with like education in literature, because obviously there's something we're able to bring. But I still think this is a series that is super enhanced by getting to discuss.
Yeah, I think anyone should discuss it. It needs
Oh,
a book
absolutely.
club.
Just because you don't have the background to have the exact vocab and framework to talk about it doesn't mean you're not going to be able to drag meaning out of this. Like, this is honestly a great series to learn media literacy, because there's so many different places that there's foils and comparisons between characters that you can find that I don't even know if we've got like 30% of them, because despite how sparse this is with number of characters, there's so many connections between them. We found 2 today.
And yet I still want to point out I'm not going to recommend it to my children.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't recommend this to someone genuinely less than like 23, probably.
I think they say that 25 is when you are fully developed prefrontal cortex. So maybe that's when it is.
But here's what I'm thinking. What if right at the end, when it's mostly developed, but you can still learn a bit, is the best time? Because then you can, grow from it more.
Ugh, I don't know, Drawk. Come on, man.
The series teaches some good lessons.
Every time I see, like right now, all these people in here, I read it at 16, says Legit Hawaiian.
Terrifying.
Legit Hawaiian.
That's terrifying, you guys.
The mother in me is just like, oh my God, exactly, Yeti. Rest in peace, 16-year-old you. Like, that's just not good. It's just so not good.
God,
and you're like, this is normal literature. Here we go.
I'm not sneaking it to the twins. If they get into nerdy media and are full-grown adults, I would be like, look, this is some of the most brutal shit ever, but it's very good. When they're full-ass adults. I don't want the twins to know Berserk exists until they are full adults.
God, no.
Yeah, you're definitely before 18. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude.
God.
I know why so many of you did, because when you're 16 and you're a nerd, you want to be one of the edgy, cool nerds who reads the cool, tough shit. I get it. I get the incentive. That doesn't mean it was a good decision, because there's a difference between the edginess that doesn't feel like it needs to have a point, so it's so just blatant and over the top and dark without ever telling you something that you can kind of disconnect. Berserk is too well written for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact problem. It wouldn't bother me that little babies were reading it as much if it wasn't for the fact that it was actually really well done.
Yeah. So it's like, not only is it going to impact you more and force you to be dragged in to be impacted by it more, but you're probably not getting as much value out of it as it could give you, because I'm not blaming you guys. You were edgy teens. I get it. But like, it's not a good choice.
Yeah. No, I mentor somebody who's 20. I haven't recommended it to him.
Someone's saying that it helped them get through a depression, though, which I've heard from a lot of people. This and One Piece are the two things I've heard of getting people through the depressions the most. What?
I have heard that.
Yeah.
I have heard that. Yeah.
This and One Piece are the two things I constantly hear about helping people through a depression.
Oh my God. Ugh. I just want the teacher in Mum and Me wants to find all of these people who read it so young and just be like, hey there. I'm
hey really there, kid. Hey there, buddy.
You're excited by this, but hey, little buddy.
Whoa.
I've got some stuff for you to help you out. And I think what you need is to be hugged.
Guys, I think I'm looking at reference for Femto, and I think sometimes he looks really cool and scary, but I think his design where he first shows up in front of Griffith and he's just like kind of posing with his big pursed lips looks so dumb with all the demons behind him, like he's posing for a boy band cover. He looks so stupid.
Boy band.
Sometimes he looks like a stupid bug. Real.
That is real. When he came out, I was like, I know you think you're really cool. Oh, aesthetic, really? That helped? Okay. That's wild to me that's what fixed you. I can't imagine. I find it massively traumatizing. But you got to do you, bro. When he first comes out, I just think to myself when I see him, like, yeah, I know you look cool here, but there's something about you that is, what's the word? Bug-like, icky. Like, I want to take out a can of Raid and spray you.
I bet you could do a video about the symbology behind his helmet. Think about how much we've talked about the idea of dehumanization, and his helmet goes from something he wears on the battlefield when he's a weapon to being a prisoner's mask that is kept on him at first to dehumanize him and then to hide his dehumanized face from people. And then it's fused into his body as Femto, becoming part of his identity as an inhuman thing.
I really, even though not a big fan of the wild section, obviously. So I did appreciate it was the entire thing with his mask. That I was like, really cool choice to not only make it a thing that was forced upon him, but then to make it a thing that he forces upon himself because he refuses to let anyone see his face not being beautiful. Like, you can see my body, but as long as you can't see my face, is it really me? Do you really know who I am? You think it's me, we've agreed it's me, but you've never seen my face. And so without seeing my face, I can actually still be anonymous. I am me without being me. And so I don't have to own what's happened to me. And I think that made it more interesting for me.
Yeah, the design in general, there's a lot of thought to it. Do we want to continue? You know what? Can we do a very brief?
I think we're doing a great job. We're moving through at a great pace.
I'm thinking, should we do a brief goodbye to the wild section where we like give it a top 3 characters or something? Like, what do we do for something that we're just breezing past?
You want to give the wild anything? Why? No, we didn't breeze past it. We gave it a
I was just wondering if we wanted to like close it off with closing segments. I think you're right that we just roll.
we continue rolling forward.
Here's what I'll give the wild section. Griffith's flashback is my favorite scene in the series. I think it's some of the best storytelling there is in this entire series, and that is saying something.
Yeah, I think
or flash forward.
My favorite part. That is not my favorite part.
I love the flash forward. The flash forward is so beautiful to me.
Flash forward was amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite part was not one part. It was how everybody kept trying to protect Griffith and stand with him and walk and joke and just treat him like a regular person.
And he hated
meanwhile, we were watching him corrupt himself.
Yeah.
The corruption went beyond. Oh, we gotta do this. Hey there, YouTube. It's me, Mama Drawk.
It is?
I think what you should do is, if you find value in this and you've enjoyed it, subscribe and press like.
You should do it.
That's about all I want to say to you today, YouTube.
Oh, I want to do a plug. Can I do a plug?
You know what? Just a minute. Let me take this out. Yeah, go ahead now.
Hey, everybody. You should join the Patreon. If you like manga, every week on Sunday, after stream, before stream, I'll figure it out. I'm going to be doing live reads with the patrons, and it's been amazing. I want you, Mama Drawk, to highlight what a great reader of characters I am. Give me a One Piece character, and I'll show my incredible voices.
Well, I would give you Luffy, but we all know I'm Luffy.
You're a very good Luffy, yeah.
I'm going to give you Sanji.
Sanji? Hey, listen up, shitty. Wait, he does. People call him shitty. Hey, listen up, bastard. You get out of the fridge, okay? I'm the one who cooks the meals around here. See? Great. Perfect, Sanji. Brilliant. Gaimon? Okay. Hey guys, anyone see my frying pan? I left it lying. Okay, wait, Moria. So, Straw Hat, you think you can just break into my island and steal my pantry? I don't know why he's stealing a pantry, but I actually don't hate that. I actually kind of like that.
Listen to me when I tell you this. A, first of all, this was very good. B, steal a pantry?
I needed to come up with what he stole. He stole an entire pantry. He just picked up the room and he ran away.
That's okay.
He just picked up the fucking room. He just did it. I
didn't. You know what? I got to start joining you on your read alouds because this sounds fun.
Yeah. I also installed this so I can do this now.
Okay.
Now listen here. I'm Jaguar D Soul and I have a bridge to sell you.
So I can do that now.
Okay. Well, that's goddamn miraculous.
Yeah, I installed voice mods and I've learned hotkeys.
Okay, can anybody do that? Because I want to talk in weird voices now.
I could probably set up a voice mod for you, but you'd have to pay for it because it only runs on one computer at a time with one login.
I'm cool with that. I didn't know that you could do cool things like that with life, and I'm gonna need to do cool things like that now.
Yeah, someone asked how my voice was doing after like 3 hours straight of demon voice reading for Berserk last week. Let me tell you guys, I was talking like this for like 2 days afterwards. Straight up, there was like 2 days. I was like this after that stream. For real, it wasn't until like late Tuesday that I was normal again. No, it was early Tuesday. It was early Tuesday because I recovered just in time for stream. My stream, although I was a little sore. It was worth it. It was so funny. All right, we ready?
I've been born ready.
Hell yeah. So the eclipse happens.
No, isn't the next thing
Rickert?
This dumb thing?
Is it Rickert next?
Armor to
I love the Rickert section. Rickert's a baller.
Want to know a secret about the Charlotte part before I forget?
Oh, Charlotte, yeah.
That part was mid.
Guts is gonna see her. Guts is gonna have to like see her again.
Yeah, I'm not.
She's alive
either. Like, ugh. Not
every character who's still alive. I'm like, fuck.
Don't you like how we watch Guts? He's falling apart, being sewn back up, and how we watch him lay beside Griffith, who sucks. And as we're watching that occur and they're having this true moment, and he reiterates the thing that we said before, which proves everything, where he says to Casca, don't you remember that if you actually want to be friends with Griffith, you have to be his equal by being your own person?
Yeah.
And he reiterates that part. But it's everybody just talking to Griffith and hanging with Griffith like he's a normal person that they're trying to help and bring back. Doesn't it make you every single moment, because you read this properly and didn't skip the beginning, the hatred in your heart as you're watching it come, you know it's coming and it's still worse. Like everything is worse because you're just watching them all have this normal relationship with a person they think is human, and you're like, stop it!
This is a monster!
Stop having these nice moments and trying to share powerful human experiences with this piece of shit. Oh, God. You're all doing it wrong.
The balancing act of writing a character like Griffith and keeping him so compelling as a protagonist and villain for this long, setting it up so well that I'm this compelled by him as we're approaching the part where I know he's about to do the worst things possible. I'll be honest, too. I had it spoiled for me through cultural osmosis. This is the thing that I haven't been mentioning, that in his transformation, he was going to R-word our girl. I knew that was coming, and I still felt compelled by him this whole time.
You knew that was coming?
I knew that was coming.
I knew
That's what I got spoiled.
But I only knew it was coming through decimation.
Through vibes, yeah. It had the vibes of happening regardless. It felt like what we were building towards, but like I knew almost for sure because someone had spoiled something and it just stuck with me for some reason.
Is it because it's terrible?
Yeah. But it was like way before I had interest in reading Berserk that I had it spoiled. And I just like, that is the one thing I knew getting in. And I still have felt compelled by him as a character because he's just that carefully written.
Yeah. Okay. Also, Zod should take his testicles out of his stomach. It's weird.
Zod don't need a dick. Zod is all about the fighting.
No, did you not see? There's a point where he's doing this stretchy thing and it's not tummy muscles. There's two weird lumps in him that looks like it's like ascended testicles. It's weird.
Okay.
But we know something else about the weird world there because they didn't just take Griffith for who he was in that moment. He had to have the bell hat back or it didn't count. But he was like, but Zod said, but you will get it. That's how this works. It will come back to you.
Yeah.
And so I think it's easy just to gloss over that part until you remember that it's telling us as readers that there are rules to how things work. So things do have a type of system, and there are things that have to happen before other things can happen. So you can't, unless he had that, he couldn't ascend to his role. Because otherwise, he just would have started the eclipse then and there. But instead, he actually had to get the bell hat.
It also, I do love how you've ignored all the corrections, and I'm not saying this sarcastically. I love that people have tried to tell you how to pronounce Bayolet, and you have just been like, actually, fuck yourselves.
I'm not going to lie. You know that I like to mispronounce certain things intentionally.
Yes.
Zoro, I wasn't going to, because when I read in the SBS that Oda wanted to call him Zoro, but didn't know if he'd be allowed to, and then he was actually allowed to, and he was like, God damn it. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. But this one, I kind of enjoy this one. Same with Pondamon.
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 I lost track of where my brain was. Let's keep going.
Zod. I want to hate Zod more.
Yeah. He's so compelling. He's a lot like Griffith, but more honorable because he respects strength in his opponents. Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give Griffith a minus 75 million and Zod a minus 60.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about Zod that makes me be like,
No, Zod is so compelling. He invites you in a really interesting way.
This entire time, they're just trying to save Griffith. Either everything is going on, everything that's happening, they still try to save the piece of shit.
I remember what I was going to say. The disrespect for this order that Zod cares so much about is another way to indicate how little Wild cares about things that aren't himself. Zod has this sense of respect for the system they exist in, and Wild is like, fuck you, save me, I get mine.
Oh, I needed to tell you.
Yeah, okay.
I'm moving away from Berserk for 3 seconds for this because I didn't really get to tell you, and I want everyone else to hear the books we like, the Noobtown Mayor books.
Yes,
what's it called? The Mayor of Noobtown and all of those books. He literally in one of the guys in it fights in a 3-sword style.
Oh my god!
And the dude says to him, and he's a undead. His spirit has been put back into his armor, and his friend goes, "Why do you need to have a 3-sword style? It makes no sense. Who are you, Zoro?" And I was like, oh my god, what?
Oh my god.
In the middle of this book series that we like, I was like, oh my god, pop off. Did you just mention One Piece?
I wonder if the dude, because he's a huge nerd, was already into One Piece, and this was just him using live action as an excuse that he could reference it because it's bigger, or if he got into it because of live action. We might never know.
I don't know. But what I do know is it's sick. It was so cool to just have that pop in there in the middle of a book series you and I have been loving.
Now we'll move on.
It
says Zod is a smash for me. I see we have the monster fuckers in chat.
There's a whole bunch of Daddy Zod. Well, you'll be happy to know that I think that he has an internal penis that can come out.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just telling facts.
This is an important theory you have. The issue is that in a series where characters like Wild and Slan exist, the monster fucker comments have been invited by the text.
Yeah.
Like, Slan and Wild exist, so yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
When Salon first
my
showed
God.
up, when she first rose up, I was like, is she getting off right now? And the entire chat was like, probably.
Oh my God. Okay. The whole part where Griffith takes off and then ends up finding the bell hat, how they're announcing and talking about the fight and where they're going to go next, and they're talking to Griffith and they're asking him to be a part of it, and you're sitting there and you're thinking like, this is a normal moment. Now we're going to have these conversations about what do we look like, who are we as a band of the Hawks, what does the future look like, blah blah blah. And I think it was so brilliantly done. If you've read it and you know the beginning piece, because you know this is the moment that it changes, you know what's coming. If you haven't, you're just like, oh, what's going to happen next? And how are they going to make the choices? You're just like, well, he's got to get the bell hat now. Everything is going to change. And then everyone who hasn't read this properly and didn't see the beginning is like, oh, this is going to be interesting times and blah, blah, blah. And all I'm doing while I'm reading this is, oh, fuck. I guess we're here now. I guess this is when we watch him ascend.
The sense of dread of just not knowing exactly how it's going to happen, but knowing what's up, I love it.
No, you know it's happening right now, Ty. You know it's happening in this exact moment.
I agree with Mama that, like, I feel like the prologue is intentional and makes the series stronger and at the very least, far more unique. It gives you access to so much more of the interesting nuances if you have the context of the prologue, whereas I feel like it's a far more typical story if you don't have that.
Okay, so can I tell you what actually destroyed me? And it's super funny. And I think it was very intentional of him.
Okay.
You end Requiem of the Wind. She's Casca is putting a band-aid around Griffith's arm. Guts is walking out. They're trying to normalize the abnormal. You go into the next one, which is the Warriors of Twilight. And Casca is leaning over the back of Guts. Guts has his hand up on her elbow and she's got her arms wrapped around his neck and is leaning her chin on his head. And you could see the normality of their love and the future that they could have together as two people who were meant to be together, who understand each other at a really deep level. And then boom, change the page. And the first thing you see is she's still putting the Band-Aid on Griffith's hands, but you're looking at his eyes. And it's that thing once again, where, you know, he has changed as a person and he wishes that he could use her and take her. And then he falls on top of her and tries to take her.
Something
you see it in his eye, through his hood. And I was like, oh, Jesus. That's what destroyed me.
Something that someone pointed out in chat that I think is brilliant, and we'll get to this later in more detail, but we've talked a lot about how the idea of gender being associated with humanity and degenderization being associated with dehumanization of someone giving up their sex for purpose. And the idea that Guts was inspired to give up being a sword so that he could match Griffith, and Griffith failing and being angry and, you know, essaying Charlotte led to Casca needing to become a leader, and that led to her no longer being a sword, her being her own person. And you see Griffith's reaction to these two, the love they have being human. They are a man and woman in love now, not his two swords.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just, and he only, the sad thing for me with Casca is he only wants to attack Casca to hurt Guts.
I think to hurt Guts, but also to punish her for falling in love with Guts, stealing Guts from him. There's a lot of ways to read it, but I think it was to punish both of them.
Maybe, but it's more for Guts than for her, and I think that's a bigger insult. And I'm using you and hurting you more to upset him than you. And even though you're the one who's being destroyed here.
And I think the reason he hates her is mostly because of Guts too, from stealing Guts from him.
Exactly, because he sees Guts as being his. He said,
I desire you.
I desire you, you belong to me. He says, you belong to me.
Yeah.
And so the only reason that he has this hatred for what's going on with her is that she took guts.
Yeah.
And that's way more disturbing, that somebody abuses you not for you, but to hurt someone else.
Yep.
That's how little you matter.
Ugh.
Oh, this part is so heavy. But
Yep.
he did this amazing page where he says, why do I always see these things after they're done and gone? It's after the page where he goes, he says that thing to her that if you're Griffith's friend and an equal, you have to, even if it's alone, you have to go. And then she goes, why do I always see these things after they're done and gone? And it shows Griffith in bed as a wisp of who he was, and the two of them standing strong and equal. And you know then that Griffith is listening to them and his eyes are changing. Even if it's alone, you have to go. And Griffith is freaking out. And that's just before the part that you love, when his old self comes and takes him. And it's interesting because he gets his strength, and that's what I'm saying. He gets his strength from taking their joy. He sees them together, knows she might still decide to go with guts, that they're going to leave him. Who will take care of him if they go? It's going to be his old band. He's going to have none of the life that he had before if she doesn't stay. There's going to be nothing to him. They're going to go off and continue to love and have a life as if he didn't even exist. And he's just like, fuck that.
So the subtleties of the facial expressions continue to astound me. Like, I think you have to be such a good writer and artist to be able to trust so much nuance in your writing that is carefully crafted to your art. Like, you have to be great at both to know where you can lean on your own art to this extent. It was so impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
You are really delaying getting into the Hell Cyclone, huh?
No, we're going into the Hell Cyclone.
You don't want to be in the Hell Cyclone. For some reason, you don't want to be in the Hell Tornado. The reason that I can't figure out for the life of me.
Listen, I know it's hard to understand. It's just not my favorite part.
Weird. You don't like the Hell Tornado?
I'm going to go and get my reading glasses.
All right. We're getting glasses. We're getting glasses up. Hey guys, did you know the eclipse is happening now? Did you know we reached it?
Oh.
Hell Cyclone. Hell is unavoidable. Hell Cyclone. Day of the eclipse. Hell Cyclone. Every 300 years we get a finger. Hell Cyclone. I guess 300 years from now we have a new hand. Didn't we start another hand? Then we get a left hand going. Is that what happens 300 years from now? What do you think? I think that's what we do. I think we get another hand. Or is one of them supposed to die in the next 300 years? Could be. It could be that one of them is supposed to die in the next 300 years and we don't know who it is. Is there a god foot? We could get to the foot. Yeah, Kenny Boy is such a good writer. And this is during the maturing process. You're right. Like, this is not that late into the series. God, what a beast of a story. What an accomplishment. I understand why Berserk fans act the way they do.
Psychotic?
Well, they're not quite the drug pushers of the One Piece fan base, but that's because it's harder to feel good recommending this.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Cyclone. Okay. I hate the Hell Cyclone and I hate Eclipse.
Yeah.
Thank you. But can I appreciate that he did literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
7. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pages of nothing but Griffith. No words, a few sounds,
I didn't notice.
Yeah. 10 pages. While I was reading this, I was just entranced by this. For an
Oh my
entire
God.
chapter, all we have is Griffith on the ground, different facial expressions, the wrestling with who he was and the who he will be, laughter coming out. He snaps his arm, looking at what he is. He leans down towards a jagged thing that's in the water and decides it can go through his neck. It goes through him. He just doesn't care. It's coming out the side of him. He's cut and he's like, yes, good. This is the end. This should be the end. And then it's just him alone in the plane, blood dripping down. And as the blood is dripping down, it's what compels him to reach in the water. He sees the Belhalat and boom, that's the end of it.
Can you imagine? I want you to I want you to put yourself. I want you to put yourself in a scenario, okay? You're a weekly Berserk reader, or sorry, bi-weekly Berserk reader, because it came out every 2 weeks, I believe, at this point.
Yeah.
You know what's coming because you read the prologue like a good girl. You are so full of dread because you know how the last chapter's been ending. You know where we're going.
Yeah.
You open your bi-weekly chapter, and instead of getting right to it, you're going to have another 2 weeks of dread because you get this masterpiece of this slow, drawn out scene. And there's going to be another 2 weeks until you actually get it now. You're having it delayed again. And you're just watching the internal process of this man falling apart and recognizing in that how far he's going to go.
Yep.
God,
exactly.
yes.
And when I read this and I felt like I was watching the descent of Griffith, like this was the last story of Griffith the man.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing to, oh yeah.
I was like, the last story of Griffith the man takes place right here, and then that's it. From this moment forward, it's not.
Can we talk about the symbology there of him trying to escape, deciding to kill himself? The place we see that end, the place that Griffith the man ends is with the decision to kill himself, because the blood of deciding to end the story of Griffith the man is what allows Femto to come into existence.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Wow. Oh, I hadn't thought of. Hey, sometimes I breeze past when you're at your smartest because I'm trying to get to my ideas. It's a mistake, but it happens. This time, I just want to pay attention, give you full props to that's really cool. Hell yes.
It was pretty wild. I just sat there and went, who as an author is that confident in themselves that they make an entire chapter where the character doesn't say a word and we completely watch them live their last moments of being a man? So he did actually kill himself there. He killed the man in him. And now he's ready to be the demon.
Beautiful. A+.
All right,
I really do like talking about Berserk more than reading it. And I still like reading it. It's just, this is great.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy reading this.
I had a great time. Me and chat loved it.
Yeah, you were doing crazy voices. I was lost in a death cycle in my bed.
And I think I might have cheated.
And then I would go outside and be like, no!
Yeah, Mama, to be fair, we could have been doing crazy voices, but you were very insistent.
I couldn't do it, though. I could barely... Papa Drawk kept going like, what do you have to read? What do you have to read? Just do it. And he's like, is this your suffering part? And I was like, how do you know
that? Someone pointed out something I didn't talk about. I didn't save the file. I should have for funsies. I did a game called Demon of the Week where almost every chapter within the first few pages, I picked my funniest background demon and I popped them up on screen to show everyone the Demon of the Week.
That's a wild choice.
It was really funny.
You're making wild choices out here.
I kind of cheated at reading the Eclipse. I had an easier time than most, I imagine, on account of constant comedy.
I'm happy for you because it was a living fucking hell.
You like the succubus?
Doing it alone was a different choice.
Can we talk about how incredible the second the Eclipse starts, the visuals are?
They are. They're. But it's like I said before with him. The minute that he's like, "All right, time to do something super disturbing. Let's make it as beautiful as possible."
Right? Some of the most beautiful,
like,
creative, interesting art in the entire series is this horrifying hill of faces made of faces rolling into the endless oblivion, souls forming a tornado into the eclipse in the sky. How the fuck?
That's what
This
this
is the
bastard
coolest
is.
shit. It's so cool.
Yeah, dude is like master of the. Oh, is this the most disturbing thing you've ever seen? What if we made it spectacular looking?
This is something every writer and artist should take as note, by the way. The reason this all works is a tool that writers and artists all use expertly if they're good at their craft. It's called specificity. There is a misconception many people have that the more specific you make things, the less approachable they are. But that's the opposite. Humans like detail. It sparks our minds. We don't connect to something unless our brain is active, and our brain is most activated by unique specificities. If you say you were drinking a drink, people don't even engage. If you say you were drinking this weird mint watermelon drink that had tonic water in it, people are immediately paying more attention to the scene because that's unique. They are imagining what it tastes like. They're kind of drawn in. And Kenny Boy, fucking master of this, because it's not just hills of faces. It's hills of faces made of faces. And thinking about that, noticing the texture and the shading and taking in all of that forces you to engage. I was forced to engage with the page longer than I wanted to because I was like, oh, is it just the main face that made of faces? The rest of them look smooth. And then people pointed out, no, look at the shading. And you can see where the shadows meet the light area. You see the texture that indicates, oh, okay, this is all faces made of faces. And the fact that that had been pointed out to me made me be more drawn in. The fact that there was something interesting enough to dig into, I was more part of the scene. So if you're an artist or a writer, specificities.
Yeah, that's a good point. And something that I'd like to say is the only good thing that came out of this is we got Puck back. And something I'd like to say about your texture is, unfortunately, because we're humans, we know what anything would feel like in our mouth.
That's true.
Because
You try this. You can look at anything and know what your tongue would feel like touching it.
Yeah, you know exactly how it would feel if you put your tongue on anything in the room. And so choosing to make it look textured, whether you know it or not, the reason you know the texture is not from your fingers, it's from your tongue. And so
Horrible.
it makes it more horrifying when he textured these faces.
Can I
Because
just
it forces
say,
your brain to think about what that texture is, and then that engages your mouth.
can I just say, what a bad fact you've given us. Thank you.
What I like to do is I like to take the things that upset people and then I like to put them on high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it's smooth, it doesn't engage that part of your brain. But the minute he pockmarked some of the faces too,
Yep.
boom, he forced you
Yep.
to use your mouth so that you knew the feeling of that surface.
Yeah, you don't need to be
Yeah.
as specific as Kenny Boy. Kenny Boy goes hard.
Delicious. I don't. The fact that Griffith is still crying and crying out tears, crying out the last of his humanity moments, and the Bella Hat is also crying out the blood to mimic him, and that we still have Guts trying to save him, trying to carry him away from this. Griffith can't even take care of himself, and Guts is like, NBD, I've got you. Oh.
It's like he's been such an impressive figure to them that even as he is unable to be who he was, just on what he accomplished for them in the past, they are willing to do everything they can in the face of the unreal to save him. That's how much loyalty he's inspired, and that's not enough for him. That means nothing to him because he sucks.
Exactly. Because he's the worst. All right, you lead us in.
Okay. Well, I don't know what page we're on. So the eclipse is actually, I know what page, I know where we're at. One of the coolest things that I fucking love as this is happening is, now it doesn't last forever because, like I've said, Casca and Guts are both more emotional than some of the others. But Casca is also an incredible leader. And she is the one, and I love this, who in the moment where they are in a reality that doesn't make sense, she says, yeah, no shit. no shit, there's a lot of this you can't control, that you don't understand, that is mind-blowing, that defies everything you know about reality. What can you control? Focus on it. Yeah. Fucking brilliant leadership. What a great statement to make.
Actually, even though I was in this moment and hated all people and all things because of it, I still took a moment when I was like, I'm going to use that and tell myself that, like, when I'm going through big shit, I'm going to say to myself, like, yeah, you can't control all of that stuff. That shit is outside of your zone. What can you control? What aspects are you able to normalize, and how can you move forward? Because when she started calling out orders and being like, yeah, this is absolutely insane. Stop focusing on that. Focus on what's real and what's normal. And
what can you control? That's
what can you control? I was like, God damn, Casca.
Fucking I love how she's written, because no character in this series is without weakness. There are places where Casca's composure breaks, and it's usually, like Guts, for emotional reasons. Which, can I just say, it's actually really good that Guts has that same vulnerability, because if it was just the woman, it would feel sexist, but it points out, no, some people are just more emotional than others.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's actually really necessary that Guts also gets over emotional the way Casca does, for it to not feel sexist. Anyways, but when it comes to staring down things that are unreality, Casca is fantastic at being like, I can keep a level head. I'm good at survival. I have the responsibility to keep these people alive. It comes across so well in that scene. And then we have what I think might be one of the coolest fucking visuals. When the first of the God Hands show up, when Slann is suddenly one of the faces in the pile and has this horrible size changing effect where she's a giant at first and then is shifting down as it's needed to be. But seeing her in the distance, seeing her rise up, I think, like, it is so hard with art to sell the concept of divinity, to sell the concept of something that is above something else is actually way more difficult than you'd think it is. There's a lot of ways to go about it. One way you'll see a lot is what they did for Eneru in One Piece, where you have someone who in dramatic situations is shown to be very reclined, relaxed. You give them a posture that feels above it all and like they're unconcerned with what's happening. And the God Hand never used that. And I think the reason is because they can't be casual. They believe in themselves to such an extent that to make them, she was literally the moon, you're right. Or he was literally the moon. If they believe in themselves so much that if you make them casual, it'll take away the power they have over the narrative. So I think it is so goddamn brilliant to instead have them be, the moon, the hills, have them be the world around them. Like, this thing that was already disrupting them with its sheer size and unreality is just her fucking face. The way she rises up, is it a little bit weird that it does seem like she is literally getting off in this scene? Yes. However, all of the visuals around it are so well presented. The compositions are some of the best I've seen in this series.
I didn't find that weird at all.
I mean, it does fit her vibe.
Yeah, her vibe is supposed to be this oversexed freak. Her getting off from the creation of the new king and the suffering and despair of others made sense to me.
Oh, it makes sense. It felt unsettling to me. Like, it was like, we're trying to...
Oh, yeah.
Look.
Use the word unsettling. Now we're there. Unsettling is the right thing.
Unsettling is what it did. I'll slut shame a woman who's masturbating to the idea of the deaths of thousands. I will.
No, you're not wrong. That's icky. But
I'm not one to slut shame often, but if you are arriving at a coronation that involves the sacrifice of hundreds of men and you're masturbating in public, I'm sorry, I'll slut shame that, actually.
Yeah, no, that's decent. Yeah, I'm going to be here for that. I feel like I did a good job raising you when you hear that. I'm like, that's the right way to see this, actually.
Look, slut shaming is not usually a valid tool, but I'll pop it out of the box in this case.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say that's a fair take, and I'm okay with it.
I'm glad you agree. This is such a weird series. I love this. But like everything
about an appropriate moment from her.
all of their introductions are good. The way that they show off their bizarre powers, the way that some of them torment personally and some of them just torment with their presence and fear is great. But I think it's good that he started with Slann because her introduction felt the most compelling to me. And I think he probably reviewed his ideas for each of their intros and was like, this is the one that's the most shaking. I would bet, and we can't ask him because he died, I would bet that he debated starting or ending with Slann because it's the one that feels most compelling. But I think ending with Void is smart because Void is the one that comes across as being the most powerful to me.
Interestingly, she felt the most powerful to me.
Really? Void feels like he's the big deal. Like he's the one they all listen to the most. Everyone else is kind of just giving their commentary for their own sake.
Meanwhile, for me, I think Void is hilarious.
So I debated doing a silly voice for Void, but I was already doing silly ones for Conrad and Ubik, so I didn't, but yeah.
He just seems so funny. I was like,
cool design,
look
though.
at you. I'm so cool. Remember when we asked whether or not whether or not they were the actual hands of God, and then we got answered that yes, they are the actual fingers on the hands of God.
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 of them, so it made sense, but I'm glad it was that literal.
Which was delightful. If it hadn't have been, I would have been pretty pissed off about it, honestly, at this point. I would have been like, come on, what a miss. What a miss. And then the other thing that was super, super cool about this moment is the hand of God reaching up. All the other current gods are all standing on the fingertips in this demented world, and you have Guts just hanging there like a remnant of real humanity. He had never looked more heroic than with his knife pushed into all the faces while he just hung off of the arm of God.
Like, there is something about Guts' character that's sold here that, like, the thing that separates him from other humans more than anything is that he doesn't see that divide anymore. He has gotten past the point of feeling like that there is the divine and there is him. He isn't like a normal man who looks at something above him and says, I can't. He fights. And that's what this series is about. And that's why I think it's so good for people with depression, because it's about fight. It's about, no, don't give up. Stop giving up. Keep moving. Keep doing everything you can. And I agree. The reason he's more heroic here than ever is because he's literally up against the impossible. And he just, exactly like Casca says, does the thing he can do.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes no sense that he's like, I'm hanging off of the arm of God and it's raising up into an eye of maybe God, which is also a moon. And where's Griffith going? And you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to fight.
I pointed out something that I find so... Sorry, you go.
I'm gonna think to myself, where is Casca? Where are the people? And how can I be of any use? And I was just like, what? What the fuck are you talking about, man? Okay, pop off. Go, daddy.
So I want to point out something that this is a bit that I pointed out that I loved in my reading. I want you to imagine something for me, right?
Yeah.
You were chosen by a regular Behelit and you couldn't sacrifice anyone and your soul got consumed by hell because you failed the contract, right?
Yeah.
You were tormented for 300 years. The eclipse comes. Hell tornado opens. Suddenly you see regular guys. Okay, that's our guy. They're picking him up. Some of your buddies bite him. Imagine you've been a soul being tormented in hell for 300 years and you get stabbed in the face, then stepped on by a normal dude. Like a dude just sticks his normal knife into your soul and then steps on it with his fucking dirty ass boot.
Like, shit! Not been abused enough? This is beyond hell, even.
That's so fucking funny for me to imagine. Like, if you've had esoteric torture for 300 years, and suddenly a normal guy is stabbing you with a normal knife and stepping on you with a normal boot, and it's like, this is maybe worse. I'm a soul.
It's injury meet insult.
Yeah, exactly. There's something so fucking funny about that to me.
One of my very favorite, I was laughing at it too as he was climbing up the faces of them and sticking his like boot in their mouth, and he's like, I don't fucking care, I just need to get to the top. And I
Hey,
was
look,
like,
they made rock climbing handholds for me.
yeah, oh look, that's helpful. And he's still looking for Griffith. Griffith! He's calling out,
Griffith!
oh, where's my good friend Griffith? I really need to go help him from those weird god dudes. And you're like, are you kidding right now, man? What are you even talking about? Stop trying to help Griffith and maybe try to kill him before he turns into this king of god dudes. You know what else we know that there is specific rules and ways of doing things is why would all these other four fingers of God who have been around conceivably for, a great deal of time, much longer than Griffith for certain.
Yeah.
Why would they all be like, oh, we have to help. It's really important to help this fifth person get born. They're very special to the God.
I think
because there's very specific rules.
Yeah, exactly. We skipped the chapter that apparently he regretted where he goes into the mythology early, so we don't know about it, but it definitely seems like they are afraid of this god of the abyss, that like it has so much power over their existence that they're like, sorry, excuse me, we got to do what we can to help our boy get his guy.
Yeah, like the rules are so specific that these very, very powerful dudes are like, okay, yep, we have to help him come out for God. So you know that God is a whole different level of terror, first off.
Yeah.
And that everything that appears to be chaotic is not. But the next thing that reminds you that not everything is chaotic is the faces, which you've shown here actually, when they go together, have pattern and rhythm and reason to them. And then the dead bodies in the other area are chaotic puddles of dead bodies. But it's interesting how often pattern and rhythm show up in here, and it's not just chaos. It's chaos made out of pattern and structure, which is way more scary to me for some reason. It's got that Escher-esque quality of it being having finite rules and yet still being chaotic out of the finite rules. There's something very terrifying about that.
I fully understand that. I just, before we move on, want to say real quick, because we should move on, but this section of the introduction is just, there's so much density to it. It's so much to think about. I wasn't fully sold on the person. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. There was a patron who said they read Berserk as very Nietzschean, and I didn't fully see it at first. After Eclipse, I think they're 100% right, especially going into it with you.
Yeah.
I think the idea of self-actualizing beyond being human and approaching divinity just by recognizing yourself as a self-actualized person, I think absolutely it feels like there's Nietzschean influence. At least, if Kenny Boy hasn't read Nietzsche, there's at very least they have arrived at similar to conclusions.
Yeah, I would agree. And I kept reading people saying like, don't talk about how this is saying that Christianity is bad. And I'm like, I do think he's just saying religion is bad, honestly.
Yeah, he's saying, I think unironically, an ethical statement of Berserk is that it weakens you to subject to the authority of the divine. It weakens you as a person to embrace the idea of a great cosmos that rules your free will, and that there is power in embracing human kindness and connection beyond what is expected of you by the imposition of the divine. Like, I think if you can read Berserk and not get that, I think you might have a personal philosophy that is blocking that concept, because whether or not you agree with the idea that it weakens you as a person to submit to the divine, that's Berserk, far as I can tell.
Yep. And in a very, very in your face, punch you right upside of the ding dong with it.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't.
I'm gonna kick you in the ding dong.
It doesn't feel incredibly subtle with that idea. Whole arcs are named after parts of Nietzsche's books. Okay, so he is a Nietzsche fan. That makes sense. Kenny Boy is Nietzschean for sure.
Here, wait.
That's okay, cool kids. I think you're allowed to disagree with that idea. Something that I've noticed, Japanese media goes one of two ways. It either leans into the pro main culture vibe in Japan, where it's like, yeah, we have a dragon emperor. Our emperor is descended from Amaterasu. Divine right exists. Special bloodlines are special. Gods are inherently meaningful. You should subject to the authority of your betters. And then there is alternatively, fuck that, human for humankind, rebel against authority, humans shouldn't subject to the whims of the gods. And you will find Japanese media usually go hard one way or the other. And I think it's fascinating. And if I can, again, very, very briefly, we're going to get to the rest of it. We're not stalling. I'm not stalling. Fire Emblem Three Houses, the reason it's my favorite Fire Emblem game is because it actually plays into this entirely. Do you want to hear something really cool? Because since you like Japanese culture, I think you'll find this really interesting. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, Fire Emblem Three Houses has a plot line where there is a divine entity who has ruled by changing her identity throughout the ages as the Pope. Basically, she calls herself the Archbishop. She's the Pope. There's a character who sees all the flaws in the world. Now, the Pope isn't evil. There's a character who sees the flaws in the world and wants to destroy it and teams up with dark forces, misunderstanding their intentions. And what's great about the game is you don't know what people are doing. But what I find so interesting is Japanese philosophy tends to go in these two different directions: embrace divinity and its right to rule over humanity, or reject it. And the authors of the book, or of the game, the writers of the game, from what I could tell, leaned really hard into the idea that everyone would accept the divine right to rule, that everyone would accept that a monarch who is chosen would be chosen by God would be one that you want to rule you. You would want the divine to be in charge of humanity. But so many players wanted to side with the character who wanted to go against the church rather than submit to it, that they made a really rushed and kind of shitty alternate secret path you could do. That was my first playthrough because I'm more on Berserk side of fight against divinity. Humans should rule humanity with human intention. That's the path I wanted to go down. But it's kind of cool to think that because Japan has these absolute two opposing perspectives, the game writers didn't think anyone would relate to that idea of fighting divinity.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's a really
I think
cool
it's
thing.
awesome. Also, Edelgard wasn't right. Rhea wasn't right. They were both right. And if they had have talked, they would have agreed. If you play multiple playthroughs, Rhea and Edelgard agree on everything. They just misunderstand each other's intentions. And Three Houses is a beautiful tragedy because of that. But they absolutely, if you play the other ones and learn what each character doesn't know, nobody was right. And if Edelgard and Rhea had have talked, they would have been best friends. Which makes it a better game. It's a better tragedy. Anyways, I'm done with detours. I'm sorry for having so many. I genuinely apologize. I just find this all so interesting philosophically.
I think when we have little offshoots, that's where the sauce gets made.
I feel as that, but I feel like I'm doing a lot, and it might be because this gets so bad so fast.
Okay, so once upon a time, this dude guts goes up. He screams at Griffith.
Griffith!
Griffith is like, "Go fuck yourself. I choose you, Pikachu, and I'm about to be a god and pop off." And it's interesting to me that I feel like I was like, was he talking to Oda all the time? Because this whole thing where he took the concept that Oda has, which is supposed to be this great good thing.
I think this was before.
What is done here is it gets sexually assaulted, because he says, out of everyone, among the 1,000 comrades and tens of thousands of enemies, you're the only one who made me forget my dream. And because of that, he chooses to turn into an evil divinity. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because unlike One Piece, where the dream is so important, but you can see the dream changing and growing. And this is something I was going to talk to you about doing as a One Piece show, about how you have to hold on to your dreams, but how we actually see dreams change in One Piece.
Yes.
In this one, there is a rigidity that means because of the rigidity of the dream is now toxic.
Yeah. And that's something I find so interesting. Like, And we see the difference between a character like Griffith and Luffy in that when Luffy loses his friends, he only cares about that and forgets about wanting to be king of the pirates and his other dreams because his dream has changed. It has been to accomplish his dream with his friends. That's what matters. He needs them to do it. Whereas Griffith is like, oh, you became more important than my dream. I hate you. That's
exactly.
And it's so interesting because I see so many other places that the philosophies of One Piece and Berserk seem to really agree. But and Berserk really treats this ambition as, so dark.
But it's almost like a warning that if your dreams don't change, if your dreams aren't willing to articulate themselves, then your dream becomes toxic. That a rigid dream is a dangerous weapon. And if you think about leadership and about people of the world, it's the rigidity and the ability to not change that is probably the most dangerous thing that you can be. It means that you're the exact opposite of humanity, because humanity is adaptation.
I love it because it's so, and actually, can we talk about how cool that is? Especially how responsible it is in a Nietzschean series, because Nietzsche has inspired horrible, horrible philosophies because of this idea of, oh, you self-actualize by imagining yourself above others. Okay, this is kind of Nietzschean, but it creates a built-in safeguard in its philosophy that shows you why you can't embrace that ideal to its nth, because Griffith is also self-actualized in a way that is horrible and toxic and damning. Griffith is a character who harms others by his Nietzschean self-fulfillment. And we see in Guts kind of the opposite, the healthy embrace, the healthy imagining of oneself as immortal. I don't know. There's something so cool about that we defy the weaknesses, the darkness of the Nietzschean philosophy by having a character like Griffith be this condemnation of ambition almost.
Yeah, and I would just like to say it again in a different way, because I think that the way that he says that is, he says what I was trying to say goes hand in hand, is what he's saying is the inability to change, adapt, and grow and evolve is the opposite of humanity. Because humanity is gaining new information and saying like, okay, new information, I've fallen in love. My priorities have now shifted to some of the priorities of this person. New information, the planet is at risk. My priorities have to take into account the saving of an environment that keeps us alive. And he's saying, if your goal or your dream takes all precedence, doesn't adapt, evolve, or change as you adapt, evolve, and change, so it means you're not adapting, evolving, and changing, you can't, because your dream isn't. And therefore, you are now a monster. You're no longer part of humanity. And we see Griffith do that, and the result is he is separated from humanity.
This makes me want to cover something. Sorry, there's so much to talk about here. It's just so deep. This makes me think about the scene that I love, the beautiful scene where Griffith sees what was possible if he had have stayed with Casca. And that makes me think about what you're talking about. What you're making me talk about makes me connect that with Casca saying, why do you have to become something else? Why do you have to go on? Why can't we just be together? But she also was doing the same thing as Guts, because what Guts was doing, right? What Guts was doing was trying to become his own person to impress Griffith, to become his friend. And he couldn't let that go. He couldn't let the idea of being Griffith's equal go. So he couldn't accept that. But Casca was doing the same thing, because she wasn't offering to leave right now. She was offering to leave and live together after they save Griffith. She was still also hung up on him, unwilling to let him go, unwilling to accept that he had abandoned the Hawks to flex his manhood with a fucking 17-year-old girl. Both of them were still inflexible. They still were hung up on Griffith.
They both had ended up getting some flexibility, because both of them did. They both fell in love with each other, and he said things like, well, you want to be his equal, then you're going to need to leave. And she kept saying, you need to be able to see the movement and the staying. And so you could see the reason that I think that one picture in the beginning of the chapter bothered me and hurt me so bad when she was leaning on him is you could see an ease in their relationship that they were coming towards, that there was a path in which they were going to have flexibility and love. And instead they were going to be forced in this new direction.
That section becomes so brilliant, seeing how many possible futures it shows you before the one we get. And then, I just realized, it shows you so many possible futures in small interactions. It shows you a possible future in a big flash forward. But then it also shows you a fortune teller, showing the future that we've been assured by the god of the abyss, and saying, it is only going to hurt us to avoid this. Oh my God, I just realized that. We see a fortune teller around the same area where we're seeing all the possible futures. Fuck, that's brilliant.
You know what else is brilliant? Fucking Rickard. Can we just get a hell yeah for Rickard?
Hell yeah, Rickard.
He's just standing there outside of the freaking death-capade tornado. And he's like, oh, this is bad. Hey, why is Zod here again? Like, is Rickard made out of the sternest stuff in the history of ever?
Oh, man.
I hope Rickard again not being eaten.
Yeah, good. I mean, you know what's crazy to think about? The team of demons of the apostles of the God Hand deciding not to eat Rickard is the reason Guts survived.
Yes, exactly.
If they had have let that moth lady eat Rickard, fucking none of this. Fucking literally, the rest of the series is over. Guts bleeds out, Casca bleeds out, and Rickard is sad. Yeah. That's how the series ends, baby. Look, you heard us last time. Rickard used to be our least favorite Hawk, but we're Team Rickard here now.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna put Rickard up on the most goated pedestal.
Hell yeah, Rickard. Skull Knight saved Guts. I mean, Skull Knight saved Guts multiple times over. Skull Knight saved Guts over and over again.
Knight saved Guts, but Rickard brought the whole information down, and he's just like, "Oh, look, it's Zod. Hey, why is Zod here?
Why is Zod fighting the terrifying Skull Knight who has spared my life?"
Isn't that the Skull Knight dude who was there when everyone in my group was eaten? Oh, that's weird that he's just here. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna stand here and watch this. I'm not even going to start running away.
God damn. It's all so good and so painful. I think for the sake of it, we got to cut it. We got to just cut to Griffith's choice. What do you think about...
And Griffith has decided that his first act as a god...
God. I think before we do that, we have to talk about the scene where Ubik shows him a vision of him as a child choosing to get to the castle. I think that seems too important to go past.
Yeah, no. Yeah, go ahead.
Just what are your thoughts? Because I think this is another one where you can read it two ways, where his response is clearly distressed. And I think the two ways you can read this are either he doesn't want to do this, or he doesn't like confronting that this is who he is. Like, I think it is expertly written again, as most Griffith scenes are, that you can't really tell if he really is hesitant or if it's that he doesn't like having to realize that that's who he is. Because he's clearly distressed in this vision.
He is distressed, but I think it's just meant to show us an uncomfortability, just like death is an uncomfortable change.
Interesting.
That for me, it's just more like he has already made the choice, but this is the result of the choice is his death, and death is uncomfortable.
I understand to an extent. You're all wrong, but I understand to an extent the Griffith apologist agenda. Because looking at this, well, let me finish. Looking at this scene, I see in here the ability to read this as he has created a justifying mechanism. He has created a mechanism in his brain to justify everything. We've seen it before, which is, if I stop now, everyone who's died is in vain. And he is told again, they're going to die no matter what. We're killing them. if you sacrifice them, you at least get the goal everyone else died for. It's playing on that sunk cost fallacy, exactly, that he's been using to justify his ascent. Because this entire time he's been like, I have to keep going despite the fact that someone died for me. And the reason I think that's written so well here is because he is drawn as a little boy with a toy, framed in the same way the kid who died following him was. And then we see that kid show up again as the thing that confronts him. Yeah, exactly. So I think that justifying mechanism in his brain is being played on here of all of their deaths are for nothing if you don't do this. Now, am I saying he's not a narcissist? No, but I'm saying he wants to be the hero, and I think it hurts him to not be able to think of it that way.
And yet, still don't apologize for him.
No. I'm saying I see part of what they're seeing. Do I agree?
No,
Fuck Griffith.
I don't see what he's seeing. I just see how he could manipulate it.
Fair. That is a good distinction.
Yeah. Because I'm like, oh no, I can't. I would never. I could never. I would never. But on the other hand, I could see how you could use it as a justifying tool.
But again, though,
you should be tortured to death. I still think that.
Yeah. So again, I want to highlight someone saying, but I think he did feel bad about the soldiers' deaths. That's why he slept with Genin. But when we reach that part, Mama Drawk pointed out, again, you can't tell because he then also shows why it was the most pragmatic choice. He lists all the pragmatic reasons for it. And you could say he's using the pragmatism to cover for his sentimentality because he sees it as a weakness. Because Griffith does see love as a weakness. That's the thing he says all the time. You could also see it as he only did it because he's a pragmatist. And that's why I love the way Griffith is written. Almost everything he does is written two ways, and that fucking rules. And I think it is fair to give him at all times both the least and most charitable reading, because I think he's supposed to be a complex character. Now, because we have to throw the least complex or the least forgiving way in, he comes across like a dickbag who should be killed.
Yeah. Oh God, no. 100%.
Yeah.
I'd murder him. I'm not that killing. There's only one other person that I've ever been like, yeah, I'd murder them. And yet I'm here for it all day long. Let's murder him. Let's put together a band of killing him.
Man,
I don't think we'll live. Don't get me wrong.
So now that we've done the transformation, I think we can go to what you were going to start with.
Okay, so you become a god,
these
right?
ones look
Like you're supposed to be this all-powerful, able to do anything human being now. You're a god now. That's a pretty big deal. I'm not going to lie. I've heard about it. Other people have described what becoming a god is like, and they describe it as being pretty powerful.
I'm stopping you again because I realized we actually didn't talk about Judo and Pippin's death, which we promised we would earlier.
We talked about it. He died.
Well, we want to talk about it. Do we want to talk about their deaths in detail? Because I feel like I know I keep stopping you, but it's because I'm forgetting the order of things.
But why are we talking about their deaths? They die. First they're alive, then they're dead.
Actually, I did remember something that I wanted to highlight. I'll make this really fast. I'm so sorry for stopping you. I'll say Pippin's death and hollowing are harrowed me, and I really hope Guts remembered that Slug Dad's who did it so that he could get vengeance and know, because there's a lot going on. Yeah. Guts might not remember.
Yeah, I really hope so too.
There's a lot going on that day.
When you're dealing with Slug Dad later on, can you please remember this?
I think Pippin or Judo's death was perfect for me. And can I say the reason I think it was perfect?
Absolutely. I'm not going to stop you.
The characterization of his death gave both of us empathy and understanding of each other's perspectives on Judo.
It absolutely did. We both had a little moment where we're like, okay, yeah.
We've more met in the middle around Judo by his death, because it framed so much about why he's been acting this way, where it becomes both a little bit more contemptible for me how he's been treating Casca, and more understandable for you, because instead of it being this blatant disrespect, it's a human failing, but instead of, for me, it being this certainty, it is a human failing. And I think that's so cool. There's also fucking tragedy of him dying, cursing the fact that he can't talk anymore, because he can't say the one thing he's wanted to say. That actually, I teared up, despite my silly voices. I'm tearing up a little now, thinking about someone dying and their last thoughts are, those are my last words. I wish I could still talk because I can't tell you I love you. Oh my fucking God, that hurt me.
Yeah. And for me, I was like, okay, so this is interesting, because in my world, I was like, yeah, she doesn't need to know that.
Nope.
Like,
but it's still sad that he didn't get to tell her.
Like, I'm sad for you. I am sad for you. But she doesn't need that extra bullshit.
Yeah, she's kind of got a lot on her plate at the moment, bud.
She's got a lot going on. She doesn't need to hear about how you loved her all along.
Okay.
And you should keep it to yourself anyways. It's not her fucking business.
I keep forgetting little details that I loved in this because I read it kind of quickly because there's so much action. But I also fucking love Casca because he hits before his eyes go out and he can't see, because his throwing knife hits, but then Casca needs to stop moving to kill it. And he's like, did I get it? And she just leaves out the part where she got the killing blow and is just like, yeah, you did it. Oh my God, that was so sweet.
You 100% did this. I was like, oh.
Fucking, because he just wants to feel like he saved her.
That's how you do last moments.
Oh my God.
She did that last moment right. I was
good
just
job,
like,
Casca. Good girl.
Good job. Once again, Casca, you're killing
it. Might have been a familial love, but it might have been romantic. But it's sad that he didn't get to say it either way. Like, but if it was romantic, it makes sense. She was already in love with two men. Like, why would you throw more on her plate? Plus, do you want to stack up to Griffith and Guts when it comes to the aura game?
Like, you just don't anyways. Like, you can try,
no one wants in that.
No, I'm not like, oh, can I throw my hat in that ring? No.
Let me compare to the elf boys.
Hey, excuse me. Hey, I know you're really into these elf boys, but can I chuck my hat in there too? What? No, go away. You're supposed to be a subordinate. You're really fucking this up.
And then the last thing that I want to bring up before I will absolutely, and I promise, let you go into it, because I think when we were talking on the phone, you had some really great insights, and I think it's going to be great. I think the way Corcus's death was handled was brilliant. The reason is Corcus has been built up as the most contemptible hawk from the beginning. Do you like Corcus? I hate that bitch, right?
No, I don't like that person at all.
No one likes Corcus. Corcus is shit. We hate him. And we see his death, and look at the expressions in it. Look at the way he draws poses. It's not drawn like any of the other deaths. It's drawn as slapstick. It's drawn as comedy, because you hate Corcus and you need a breather. You won't get through the eclipse without a moment to breathe. You literally couldn't. You need a second. So he gives us this slapstick, like 5-page death of Corcus, but then at the very end, we see Corcus as a sad, scared man, where he's panicking and just happy to be embraced by a woman. And we know what's about to happen. And we have this long moment to be dragged back into the misery we need to go back to, as we finally see him as someone we can pity, someone we can have a little sympathy for.
Yeah, I didn't have pity for him. You know what I had? I was like, good. Death by titty, bitch. That's perfect for you.
Okay. I got dragged back in. I think it was handled really well. I think it was done really, really well.
It was handled brilliantly, but I think that he owed me a death by titty, and I was really glad to see it.
Oh my God. Fighter First just pointed out something brilliant.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So Fighter First pointed out that Judo being in love with Casca points out something so brilliant, because from the beginning, he's been the one who's on the outside, who's like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm here sometimes, who wasn't as swept up with Griffith's charisma, because he wasn't with them for Griffith. That's why he never became a proper soldier. That's why he kept being this dashing rogue. He was there for Casca, and that's why oh my God.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's really good. Thank you for that being pointed out. Okay, I think I'm done interrupting you. I'm so sorry.
So for me, the whole death of the little cow, when it's a woman who comes up to him while he's naked and is like, All right, here I go, Croca. Oh, look at this. You're gonna just immediately lean in and start nibbling on some woman's boobies, even in this kind of world. Yeah, no, good. I'm glad you're gonna die from a woman. I'm glad the person who's gonna kill you, the monster who's gonna take you out, is a woman. It makes me so happy. It couldn't actually be happier. Now murder him.
I do like that for him, but I do still think that it was really well done to give us a break, but then drag us back into the horror. Whether or not he deserved to die more than anybody else there.
It was fun to watch him die, which was concerning. I was like, oh no.
I mean,
why am I so excited about this dude's death?
You say the horses had nothing to do with it. Technically, he owned the horses. And if you want to be like, those horses didn't have a choice, guys, slavery is illegal. Did the humans belong to Griffith? Should he get to like trade their lives in? It's not, the god in this world is not ethical, guys.
No, it's definitely not an ethical god. There's no ethics involved here.
We do not have a god that exists on first principles.
No, it's a very bad one.
Okay, now let's go into the important part. What?
Before you guys move on, that part is just a bit out of order. You guys want to talk about Guts having the realization of what Griffith doing?
Yeah, we probably should. Fuck, we keep forgetting. I want to get to the bad stuff.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, so we're not getting the bad stuff. We'll just talk about Guts' reaction.
Well, I just like when Guts. It's not that big of a deal for me because Guts was stupid, and then finally he was like, "Oh, he's a really bad guy. Oh, he's gonna be a devil."
I think
him like, seeing. Are you shitting me right now?
I think him seeing what had been done to the Hawks really hit me. I did get got. It's a thing we've
got until after the Hawks were being murder-lated, and he was like, "Oh my god, what?"
Yeah, because he was up there and didn't realize what was already happening. Then he goes down and sees, oh no, fuck. I think it's a trick that Kenny Boy used a lot of giving us a point of view character to recontextualize stuff that we're trying to distance ourselves from, and it lets you get the second impact kind of. I think Ken uses point of view characters better than almost any author.
I would agree.
Which is crazy for comic.
I would say that it made me be like, how does it take one man that long to figure shit out? Like fucking Griffith is out there sucking at major levels out loud, and Guts is like, "I'm coming for you, Griffith," and I'm like, dude, seriously? Come the fuck on. And then he's like, "Here I come. I'm going to save you. I'm going to cling to the arm of this bad guy here, this god." And you're like, dude, come on. Go.
Griffith wouldn't betray us. Actually, he will. I'm not going to listen to someone who's masturbating in public. Actually, he will. I'm not going to listen to a bizarre balloon. Void is like, no, he's going to betray us. Well, the brain guy has a point.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, oh, Jesus, God, man.
Oh, you listen to him? Well, he has a big brain. I can see it.
I was so glad when we finally got the frickin' him being on board with what Griffith was brain. I was like, good, can we move on?
Although, something I didn't notice until you just said that, doesn't it kind of add something that he did delay coming into it? Because we get to see, instead of a slow realization, which would be way less Guts-like, we get to see a snap, which is so perfect for his character.
Yeah, it's perfect for his character in the way that he's behaving like an idiot.
Yeah, because he's a dummy. He's just a little dummy.
The level of loyalty, and I know that we're supposed to be like, that's how Guts moves on. His level of loyalty is the thing that is so impressive, that even though he has his own dreams, loyalty often overshadows those dreams and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh my God, man, he's the devil.
Someone saying Guts didn't read the prologue is so true. Oh, man. You ready to lead us into the darkness?
I think I made any amazing points about it, but for me, what was really, really profound,
yeah,
is that Griffith changes into a god. He's reborn. They put him in, the picture has him in the fetal position, turning back into an embryo, having himself melt and become transparent, rebuilt in the image of a weird-ass god with leather wings and strange feetsies, being literally reborn as a phoenix, calling himself a Griffith, and now he's being reborn as a phoenix, and becoming this thing, whatever the hell he is, and in this power and in who he is, and I understand he doesn't understand the reaches of his power yet. His first act is to R-word who was his right-hand person,
And
to
I
hurt
think
the only person who could have made him forget about his dream, as an act of showing him that he had complete control over his life and could do whatever he wanted with anyone.
Mhm.
And then
And-
the reason that it was just so wild is I was just like, out of everything you could do, you're still, even as a god, just a petty man.
you're just a pathetic man. And that's what's, I hate to say this phrase about this scene, but that's why it's perfect, because this is who he is. This is the crutch he's leaned on to make himself feel masculine and powerful over and over again. His ability to conquer others and control them, and it's not always this exactly, but throwing people into a place where they'll be hurt, taking advantage of people, getting them to do things they don't want to. These are the actions Griffith takes to reassert his masculinity. And we've seen this specifically. He does it to Charlotte. He tried to do it to Casca earlier.
Charlotte, and it is the first thing he does as a god, which I think basically says, I am the same shitty petty man I was before I was a god.
The only difference is he can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The
He's
only difference
rewarded
is
for it
now
instead
he
of punished.
taught me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. It's gross.
And I was
And
like,
Sorry, you go.
It's terrible. It's disgusting. But it tells us as a audience, now you see, he already was the devil, and he continues to be the devil.
The scene, hey, believe it or not, didn't like getting through it. Sucked, painful, bad. It tells you so much. It is so. The scene, the big problem, and we talked about this with the scene with Wild, is it felt unnecessary. And sure, it highlights how bad Griffith is in the moment where he throws himself on Casca after, but I don't think that was as important as the fact that it happened with Wild to Casca already made this hit less hard than it should have. And we kind of agreed on that, right? Mm-hmm.
Agree. If you hadn't had it happen at that time, it would have been even more insane.
Yeah. Because it was almost like we were like, oh yeah, I guess that's just what we do to Casca now.
Yeah. This is the R word. Oh, okay, that's just how we treat Casca.
Which
okay.
I think is a huge shame, because in reading, I had trouble having it hit me as hard because I was like, well, I guess we do that now. But talking to it back over with you, seeing how much it reflects on Griffith's character, how much it makes him, like how much this scene shows you how little he's changed, and how this power, again, instead of using it immediately to show off, oh, I'm a god in a meaningful way, he just uses it to reaffirm his masculinity the same way he was before. Literally the same. Literally the same weakness.
Before. Like, he was going to do that, but he couldn't manage to do that before because he was too weak of body. So it's the first thing that he does when he becomes a god.
Yep.
A god is a task off I was going to do before, but I couldn't because I wasn't man enough, but now I am.
And what I just realized is really, really interesting. Of course, he feels the need to reaffirm his masculinity. He has just seen the man he saw as a possession become something that everyone around him is acknowledging as more than a human. And how did he do it? Through hard work and focus, through believing he can, through being willing to risk everything every time. Guts has become the being that Griffith saw himself entitled to be. It cost Griffith everything, and all it cost Guts was risking everything. Of course he's pissed off. Of course he feels the need to show off that he's better. Of course everything he can think about in this moment is about hurting and destroying Guts, because Guts, just by being him, is proving himself better than Griffith.
And just to be clear here, Guts is still better than Griffith.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
I agree. Guts is a good boy. He do his best.
I don't know if he's a good boy or not, but he's still better than Griffith.
I mean, yeah.
Pretty
By
low
Berserk
bar,
standards,
though.
he's a saint.
Pretty low bar.
Mm-hmm. So there are a
Griffith
lot of
might
people. So you go.
Griffith, no, I heard that some people talk about how she liked it.
Yeah, that's actually hey everybody, fucked up.
That is,
Here's,
if you're one of those people, put yourself in the corner.
yeah. Yeah, Guts killed the child, but he felt bad about it. By Berserk standards, saintly to feel bad about killing a child.
Yeah, he didn't like that he killed him, and therefore he's the best dad.
Guts for best dad. Oh man, I don't think his child died. His child went to hell.
No, it said it's gonna come back in
Yeah.
ew.
It's
I
going to
don't
be
like that
horrible.
kid.
It's going to be, it's going to grow up really fast and be a horrible thing we have to deal with over and over again.
Yeah, I don't like that kid. I think we shouldn't bring that kid back.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, if you're part of the She Liked It crowd, you need to repent. You need to actually repent. Like for real. Like for real.
Yes. You bet. For real. You're a bad kid now.
Like, fix that opinion you have. That literally, if you think that can be a justification, repent. Like, if your brain goes to that as an argument, go out of it. Did this scene lean too far into sexualization? I'm so torn on that, because it did sometimes feel like it was almost glorifying in that, and that's really uncomfortable. Yeah, you're just gonna say it did for sure?
No, it just did.
I think that's my leaning.
I have done nothing but think about that.
Because like
I was like, did this go too far? Blah blah blah. And I kept trying to think about, like, okay, what was his reasoning and da-da-da. And I started to think about the position he put her in with...
So,
I think... Okay, sex juice coming out of her and her leaning with her ass in the air. And that position, I was like, no, man, you really went for the wank off.
So... Can I
wait a minute? It's countdown. Hey, YouTube! This is the perfect time. What you don't know is I just said some stuff that you won't have to hear. Don't watch the VOD. And that's why I just want to say you should come live, hang out with us on Twitch. That's where you get to hear the real stuff and actually be a part of the conversation. This is where our people feel like they have the opportunity to talk to us and to share their opinions, which changes the way that we interact with this piece and with One Piece. So come and hang out. And if you find value in this and you've enjoyed it at all, press like. Press subscribe if you really enjoyed it.
Hell yeah.
Come and join our Patreon if you are interested. Drawk does live reads. We're starting to add a bunch of things into Patreon life. Drawk is a graduate who has finished moving, so now is the time where Drawk is drawking it out. And
true. To an extent.
And true to a great extent. And now you can come and be a part of the lovely world of Patreon and be super cool.
We're also bringing back letters from our crew. So if any of the crew ever want to leave a message, the crew being our highest tier on Patreon, we will read them out on stream. We're getting back to that. I want to hear people's opinions. I want to get to that, because my favorite thing about this program has been getting to mix our insights with yours. I think that's where we arrive at the coolest conclusions. And sometimes you guys blow my mind.
And sometimes you say unhinged shit.
That is true. Speaking of unhinged shit, I have reflected on this also, and the best I can say for it is I've definitely seen worse. Like I've seen manga treat this subject matter more in a way that feels like glorification.
That doesn't make it better.
The thing I'll say, no, it doesn't. The thing I'll say about the position and everything, I see Griffith as someone who is so up his own ass that he needs to, in doing this, recreate the idea of, no, it's okay because I know she wants me. So that's why it is positioned the way it is. As far as the actual art, yeah, it feels too sexualizing.
I don't even think he gives a fuck.
I think he does, and the reason is because I think the series is about how calling yourself a god doesn't mean anything, and he's still a weak, pathetic man.
I mean, yes, he is still a weak, pathetic man. I will not deny that. But I think that he just cares about, this is a thing I want. It's a thing I tried to start, but I didn't have the ability to do it. And now I do. So I'm going to finish it off. And at the same time, I'm going to crush the soul of Guts, because it matters to me that Guts feels broken. But I was like, you could have done that without, there were 3 images that I was like, no, that's just spank material. That's just for gross people who like that kind of shit.
Yeah, it definitely, like, the art of it felt like it wasn't in the right way.
Yeah.
Look,
it was
guys, stop saying the ghosts look phallic. Let the ghosts be ghosts. Come on.
Did you just use let the ghosts be ghosts?
Yeah, people are like, that ghost looks a little phallic. They're let the ghost happen. I'm not gonna finish this, it looks like, unless we probably are going later than normal. I don't think we're gonna finish at the 3-hour time mark. This has been crazy. This section's dense, and we read more than we ever have.
We killed it. We'll get through. Don't you even think about it. Don't fash yourself.
So
young person.
Something that I want to touch on that someone pointed out while I was reading that I think is brilliant. They pointed out, this is something they said they realized because of our conversation about Berserk and gender. The thing I brought up earlier about how dehumanization and degenderization are played, that this is the first time that Griffith is treating Casca as a woman. She has been a tool until now, like I pointed out earlier when he threw himself on top of her. But this is a punishment for his swords no longer being swords, for them falling in love and becoming real people. He is punishing them and attempting to destroy their humanity. He sees the humanity they've given themselves through their love and through acceptance of themselves as a betrayal, and he is trying to destroy what they have gained from loving each other, from becoming close, from trusting each other.
But even more than that, I see this as Griffith punishing them for getting to be human and for not having a need to be something more and finding love in each other enough. And that he is punishing them for their ability to just find joy in being enough for each other and their ability to find joy in being a human. Because it isn't something he could ever do.
Interesting. And people are pointing out literally corrupted their love. Yeah, that's also true.
He's the worst of the worst of the worst.
Griffith, hey, Kenny boy, you've managed to create, I wish you were alive so that I could somehow hope that my words would reach you. Because as a writer, you have created possibly the most sickening villain of all time. And that's not easy. People would think, well, you just have them do evil stuff. But like, that isn't enough. Having someone seem to understand their evil so much, having a world where you feel what could be so palpably, where you have a segment about the possibilities of what could have been right before this all breaks. There's so many levels that were needed to make Griffith be so fucking horrible. And god damn is he. Like, props for just making the worst guy.
The fucking worst guy ever.
Unreal level of worst guy.
Yeah, I actually said to myself when I was reading this, like, who can even make a villain this bad?
Yeah. Like I said early on, It's like One Piece Doflamingo, but just more compelling, even more charisma, and more evil.
The most evil.
Frankly,
Yeah,
I have less
no.
sympathy.
Yeah, I have more sympathy for Doflamingo than I do for this fucker.
Yeah. I also want to say someone saying he had all the tools to be heroic, but I think kind of what this story is about is that this is a world, like the world doesn't always let you choose that seeing yourself as a hero is the problem. The fact that Griffith thought he was a hero is how we ended up here, because the world put him in a situation where to follow through on what he saw as his heroic right to accomplish great things, he had to become what he did and saw his mission, his heroism as more important. Like, this to me is just not a story about, oh, you could have been a hero. It's about, why did you want to be?
Yeah, I would agree.
Wild is worse. Look, that's what I'm saying. Wild isn't worse, and that's why you can't have a villain that just feels like they're doing shit. Wild just felt like he was doing evil shit. The understanding of what he's doing and the intentionality genuinely makes
Wild
Griffith feel
isn't
worse
worse.
to me.
No,
Yeah.
because the difference between Wild and Griffith, like, Wild was a man at one time. He was a shitty man who didn't like himself. Griffith, who was ugly, undervalued, probably treated poorly, and then took out all his anger on everyone and became this thing.
Yeah.
Griffith was a hot, charismatic, interesting person who led armies. He didn't need to become this shit person to have an incredible life.
He could have just been the best mercenary.
Exactly. There's some sympathy that you have built in for Wild, even though that in itself is a crazy thing to say, because you're like, yeah, you suck ass, but you were a shit person before who was ugly, who no one cared about, and you abused the power. Are you the worst? No, you're the second worst.
Actually, can we let's highlight. I think I've just realized in what you said, it made me think of something that highlights exactly how fucked up Griffith's insatiability is, right? Griffith is in a situation where he is a low-born peasant. He was a homeless orphan. He grew up on the streets, and with his charisma and his looks, his skill and his work, he had found men who loved him. He had found accomplishment, a fast track to being knighted and becoming nobility. He was with the princess of a country in a private conversation. And when asked if he had friends, when asked if his men were the romantic ideal of friends, he went out of his way to explain why they can't be, because he's better. Why is he better? Well, because he's been faced with incredible opportunity. He's been faced with the potential to have a great life, to be the most renowned knight in the kingdom, to be beloved by thousands. And don't say he was lying. Let me fucking finish. And he expresses why he's better than them, because that's not enough. The thing that makes him so good, the thing that makes him better than others, the thing that is meaningful, that makes him this self-actualized man, is that a good life as the most celebrated knight, a rise to fame, the love of a princess who, given enough time and not the drastic, horrible circumstances, maybe the king would come around to him loving his daughter.
If he hadn't have said, I don't know, sexually abused her and assaulted her.
Yeah. If it had have happened slowly over time, if he had have done more good, if he had have saved her even more, there's so much possibility he had.
Higher in the ranks.
And he brags to her about how he's better than the others because this isn't enough, because I need more.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to interact with chat as though they're cutting me off. But I'm telling you, like, that should tell you what you need to know about him. He brags about being dissatisfied with the best life you could ask for and more.
The best life any of them could ask for in the circumstances that they're in.
Yeah. Like, had everything, and he saw it as a mark of pride that he needed more to be happy.
Yeah. He was beyond proud. He was like, I am so much better than everyone else that despite being hot, charismatic, intelligent, despite having the loyalty of others to a weird degree, none of that is enough for me. I am worth more than that.
Yeah. Casca
That's
was your
wild.
favorite character, cool kids? Casca should be your favorite character. Casca's great.
Casca's still alive, goddammit.
Casca is still alive for now. It's terrible. We should get to that.
Yeah.
Skull Knight saves them. Hey, do you love Skull Knight as much as I do?
Okay, I don't want to, but I do. I have a weird thing with Skull Knight. I just kind of really like him. I don't know that that's good. I think he's gonna let me down so badly. He says, he basically says, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna let you down so badly."
I actually want to pause on this because I think Mume is saying something that's reflective of a lot of people. Mume, I think you were swept up in the Griffith charm. If you look at Griffith's scene and see him as that only being a lie, I think it's two ways. I think he says here. Sorry for going off about chat. This irks me. The idea that like he was lying, it doesn't represent his true ideals. He acted on them. What do you mean it doesn't reflect them? He said those men were just tools to accomplish what he needed to, and they couldn't be his equals because he dreamed of more. Mume, the eclipse is about him treating them as tools to accomplish more. Those are his real ideals. You can't act on something you've said are your ideals and have that not count. Is there a part of him? Yeah. Is there a part of him who's also angry that Guts is such a great presence that he wanted to abandon his dream? Yes. Did he partially say what he did to himself to be like, no, Guts can't be my friend? Absolutely. But he still sacrificed Guts. He did that. He did sacrifice Guts for the exact ideals you're saying he doesn't have. You cannot say they aren't true when he sacrificed everyone who loved him for those exact ideals.
There's a thing that Oprah said a million years ago. That's right. I'm talking about Oprah.
We're quoting Oprah in the Berserk review? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Regis Rag. Thank you so much.
He didn't say he didn't love them. He said they weren't his friends. That's different.
That's way different. There's a thing that Oprah said that she took from someone else. That is a really, really important concept in psychology. That when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And that's what I felt like while I was watching all the things he was doing. He kept telling us who he was. He kept telling us what his values were, what he believed in, what he didn't believe in, what he wanted, how he saw his quote unquote friends who were actually just people who were tools for him. How he said that he had to do these things because he was willing to sacrifice people. He told us earlier, yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice people. Why not? I need to make it up there. But if I'm going to sacrifice them, I'm also going to have to put myself out there. That was his original deal. And then as time progressed, he realized, well, what if I didn't have to put myself out there? What if I could just sacrifice?
Yep. Like you just, I get it. I get that the story is written to show his humanity as well, but the story is about him not choosing that side. It doesn't matter if it was also there. It literally doesn't. If there's someone in your life who deep down loves you, but they fucking abuse you, they treat you like shit, they treat you like a tool, they would throw you under the bus to get what they want, and it makes them mad that they love you, fuck that person. Why are you going to say no, but they really love me? No, fuck them. Seriously. Get away from that person. Keep them out of your life. Because if you can look at the way Griffith goes and actually sacrifices people, oh, but he only sacrificed them after he blamed them for losing everything. Yeah, fuck him. It was his fault. It was literally his fucking fault he lost everything. He didn't have to fuck Charlotte. He didn't have to say what he said when I still think he knew Guts could hear him. He didn't have to push away everyone who made him feel like a man, a real human man. He didn't have to do that. So if you have someone in your life and you're going to defend them, you're going to defend them to me and say, no, but I should keep them around because they really love me. And I'm fucking big face mode for this. You guys get big face mode for this.
Now you've done it. You're in big face.
Yeah. If you can look at someone in your life who uses you, treats you like shit, treats you like a tool, sees you as lesser, but then occasionally gets fucking pissed off because you make them feel like a human person, because they feel connected to you, because they feel love for you, so they treat you worse if that person's in your life, stop defending them. Stop pretending like they haven't earned every bit of contempt you feel. It doesn't fucking matter if deep down Griffith feels bad. It doesn't matter if deep down he feels like, oh, I had to. It doesn't matter if he blamed them first. That doesn't make it better. That makes it worse because he looked at something that was objectively his fault, that objectively he did. He did this. He got himself tortured. He fucked Charlotte. He threw his plans away because he felt like he wasn't a man anymore because he lost a fucking sword fight. That's what happened.
Exactly.
And then he blamed everyone else and then threw them aside. That's what you should care about.
To his best friend, too.
Yeah.
He loses his sword fight to his best friend.
Yes.
Any normal person would be like, wow, I've done a lot to teach this person.
Mm-hmm.
They've become such a warrior now, and they're in my army. This is amazing. I am such a lucky person.
Yeah. He could see that as brilliant and see it as a reason to try to inspire Guts to have loyalty, to respect him as an equal, to be like, you're right, you should be my general when I'm king. There's so many reactions he could have had. So again, I want you to reflect if you're looking at Griffith, if you are looking at him and saying, no, that's not what he meant. You are genuinely, and I mean this as an actual warning to you. I think you are vulnerable to abusive people. If you can look at someone who's done nothing but hurt everyone around him, hurt everyone who loves them, who's willing to do literally anything to them, and your reaction can be to say they didn't mean it, I think you are genuinely vulnerable to abuse because that's abusers. That's how they operate. Griffith is an abuser. We are seeing him do horrors, do them. And then we're saying because he might feel something else that makes him angrier, he's okay. No, check yourself. If you are looking at this and saying nobody didn't mean it, look at the people around you. See if you're making these excuses because this means you're okay with people hurting you if you can feel like they didn't mean it. That's all. That's all. Big face mode can end, but I need you to check this. I want the best for you people, so please check this.
I would
Sorry
just
for
like to
going
reiterate
off.
that. No, I would like to reiterate that. That's a deep concern because that's how abusers get away with things. People with real empathy coming against people without real empathy. And so they are able to make excuses for them because they're thoughtful, empathetic people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why abusers seek out empathetic people because they know they're more likely to listen to the excuses. They know they're more likely to be vulnerable to this. They know they're more likely to want to see the best in them. And I think that's dangerous. I think that's something to watch out for.
You don't have to think it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's just dangerous.
Okay. And this isn't to be mad at you. If you're in that camp, this isn't to be mad. This is a genuine warning to reflect on the people around you. I think we can move on to Skull Knight saving everybody. That I actually feel good about that rant. That was one of my best. It was one of my best rants. Yesterday, I had such a good rant yesterday. And I topped it immediately.
Jesus God.
It was about Yu-Gi-Oh! My rant about Yu-Gi-Oh! Was great yesterday. Okay,
Really
Clarith is agreeing with me and saying, having been abused in the past, everything I'm saying is true. Glad it's speaking truth. I want people to be careful. If you're in this loop, if you can get in this loop, check yourself. All right. Look, he saved. Hey, you're saying he saved literally 2 people? Skull Knight saved 100% of the people who were alive in there.
Oh my God.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You really just pulled that out, didn't you?
Skull Knight saved 100% of the surviving humans.
Jesus God. Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is not a lie.
Yeah, 100% success rate, Skull Knight.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Don't
forget, he also saved Rickard on the outside.
Yeah.
Who has no self-preservation now. Apparently watching everyone getting eaten, the effect it had on Rickard is, really crazy shit can happen. So, whatever.
Imagine you're Rickard. This is Rickard's day. Rickard's day is be me in camp. Our job is literally to wait. Okay? Our job is literally to wait here. That's all. Okay, everyone's fucking dead. There's monsters beyond imagining here. One of them says, don't kill him. What? Run into a trading caravan, hang out with them for a bit. Fortune teller gives me magic dust. Okay, well, I'm gonna go meet my friends. Bye, magic dust traders. Oh, there's a tornado to hell. Oh, giant minotaur demon and
You forget.
True.
Rickard had to hear the rumors, be like, oh shit, really crazy shit has happened. That's how I know where they're going to be now. Get there and be like, oh, what's that death tornado thing? Oh, Zod's here? Oh, the dude who was there eating my friends is here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. So like, so that happens. The guy who ate all his friends is there. The Skull Knight who stopped him from being eaten is there. He's just literally standing outside a hell tornado, watches them fight for a while. His brutalized friends fly out of the tornado with a man on a flying horse. Fucking what a day Rickards have. Frankly, with how fucked all that is, he got off so easy with his sentence at the end of this being to like be the nurse for a mentally ill woman with a hit on Hell's hit list.
I can't even with her.
It's
the
so
fact
sad.
That she's alive is so much worse.
You had the exact same reaction as me. Did you know that?
Really?
Mama Drawk called me right as she survived and was like, oh yeah, she's going to Minecraft herself. I said that to chat while I was reading. I was like, oh yeah, now she's going to Minecraft herself. And you know why I think both of us did that?
Why?
I think it's the same reason both of us predicted she'd die, because it's so much fucking harder to imagine reading the series with that lingering hope of Casca being better while Guts is wandering around the world. It's so much harder. It's so much harder to imagine than if she was dead.
Yeah, it's way worse. The fact that she's alive and she is now the person that she is with the life that she has.
And I like genuinely, the authors created a situation where it doesn't feel like, oh, you're going to say she's gone catatonic because no, of course she has. Fucking of course she has. Of course Guts doesn't trust anybody anymore. Of course Casca's like that. Literally, of course.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
You know what else is so bad about it? It's that hope thing. Like, okay, now we have to have hope as he goes through the world that they might get to be back together and have a life.
We have to hope because it's there and we got shown what the future could be. We're forced to have in the back of our mind the hope that we know won't come true. But it's a series about how you have to keep fighting for those hopes. So of course she's alive. This series could only have her alive.
Every single time we go anywhere and Guts is gonna possibly die, now we have to be like, oh, now he can't get back to Casca.
But it has to be that way.
Obviously.
I feel so dumb that we didn't see it, but it makes sense. She couldn't have died because this can't be a series about struggling on for hope if he had nothing to lose. That wouldn't work.
Well, we both said, is it possible that he has nothing to lose and that's why he decides to just go all out and make the thing that he lives for is just getting revenge on Griffith. Yeah. And you could see that, but it's way harder if it's like, I have to win this war because if I don't win this war, what's going to happen to Casca?
And beyond that, even if she gets better, if he can't kill Griffith, she can't know peace.
Yeah, because she's a sacrifice.
She's marked by him. Oh, yeah, God, it makes it so much more beautiful. It's so much more beautiful and so much harder.
Beautiful.
I would call it beautiful. Yeah, both are true.
Yeah, it's pretty
both of those.
Good.
It's really bad.
Yeah, when she was gonna live, I called you and was like, no.
It's so fucking hard. I was thinking she'd Minecraft herself and that'd be so much easier.
It would be so much better if she Minecrafted herself.
That's not what you want to say, but it's true.
Yeah, I was just so hoping for it. Because I was like, no, I want you dead. You need to be dead. You can't be hanging over my head with hope springing eternal.
It's so much fucking harder. Oh,
Yeah.
so it's
I love,
actually
though, that
brutal.
I
You go.
love, though, that we have him have a say that this is nothing different than anything else. This is still just a war. That's all this is.
Yep.
Don't try to tell me that this is some strange hell thing. I don't care about anything that you say or anything that you say it could be. To me, all this is war. The war
And
never
that's-
ended. I'm still fighting a war.
And that's so Nietzschean because he doesn't see this as above him. He's like, yeah, this is just me doing my thing. It continues. If I don't give it the validity of being beyond me, it isn't.
But it's also self-preservation.
Yep.
That it's what Casca said earlier. Quit trying to see all the weirdness of this. Just focus on what you can do. He's like, I'm not going to see this as some strange hell fight and some weird rules. This is still just war, and I know how to deal with war. The
fact that she has the mark and can't leave is so essential to his revenge quest making sense. Because if she was like mentally sound, I could see him being like, you're right, let's just live a normal life, and stopping and living there and living in that cave.
And letting the world get taken over.
Yep, because of what she said, because she was right. There isn't shame in just living. And if he was the only survivor, in retrospect, it would feel like it's going against the themes we've learned in this prologue. It would feel like it goes against these themes for him to need to get revenge instead of trying to live. But he has to do it for her because she is alive.
Exactly.
God.
Yeah, the choice to keep her alive once you read all the way through and you get past it, you're like, that had to happen. It's so obvious that it had to happen.
It's all they could do, and it sucks, and I hate it.
And I wish she was dead. Oh no.
I don't. It's Berserk is a series where we both wish our favorite character was dead. I think she's my favorite. It's her or Guts. It's hard to say.
Oh, I love her so much.
I'll also say, yeah, you go.
She makes me so sad now.
Right? It's so fucked up, dude. There's also like
crushes my spirit.
Oh, someone's saying in the Black Swordsman you can see the corrupted child. It's literally following its father. That's fucked.
No.
That's fucked. That shouldn't be happening. I didn't realize. That's fucked. Don't do that to me.
Do we have to go back and look for it?
We do. We also should probably address the Guts and Casca's baby and that scene. That scene fucking that hurts.
What page is the most important page on?
I don't know. Oh, for seeing the baby in the prologue.
Ew, gross. No.
Please check chat. What am I supposed to check? Lav, what am I checking? I'm checking chat. I've been told to check chat.
No,
first chapter?
Chat.
People are saying first chapter. What was that?
Our chat about the ears.
Oh, our chat about the ears. Right.
That's what I'm saying that I was about to do. I'm trying to find that important page.
You're right. So chat pointed that out when I read it. So many people.
It's in our group chat.
Okay. It's in the group chat. You go grab it while I'm going to do this. I'm going to set you up. I'm just setting you up. So many people pointed
Chapter
out when I read this,
92.
they were like, maybe you were onto something about the ears. Fuck. Like people were like, shit, I didn't remember that line. Fuck. You bring it home.
This, I can't believe you didn't immediately, because you remember when I told you that I kept walking outside? When I read this, I like stood up, took my book over to the computer screen, pointed at all the squishies and said, told you so.
Told you so, motherfuckers.
So
yeah, no, I was like, oh yeah? Oh yeah?
So as he goes through, he's on the horse with Mr. Skull Rider of Joy, and they're going back to their to the place where Casca is, and he says to him, I am a foe of humans, and that's all I'm going to say for now. And that,
I thought
by
he
the
was
way,
a foe of
like,
the Inhumans.
of the Inhumans, and that's all I'm going to say. And that we need to come back to, because like Skull Dude, Skull Dude is
Dude's
duding
so
in that
cool.
moment.
He's so fucking cool.
He is beyond cool. He's kind of hot, and I'm upset about it. And then he goes, I didn't know you had. He says, why'd you bring us to these mountains? I never told anyone else about this place. And he goes, well, I merely brought you to the nearest safe place to the otherworldly gate. Formerly, elves lived in these mountains. Even though elves have left, the earth strong energy is strong here, and it was the most suitable place in which to hide from those people of darkness. I didn't know you had some connection to this place. It was chance. And then he goes, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, likewise, what saved you from death was elf dust, and that your friend had by chance with him. And he goes, elf dust? Medicine of the highest quality. It isn't easy to come by. Seldom do elves reveal themselves to humans. Maybe you have some tie to the elves. And then it shows a picture that is just his eyes with his two pointy ears sticking out on either side. And I was like, oh.
How is this something the community doesn't talk about at all when it's spelled out for you fuckers? You're calling us crazy. All of you are calling us crazy for caring about the ears, and you're like, no one talked about the ears. And there's literally a panel that's like, hey, Guts, maybe you have tie to elves. Highlight pointy ears, highlight pointy ears.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, this is brilliant. We've said it before and we'll say it again. When you only have a certain number of people in a story with pointy ears, but then you have one race where they all have pointy ears, that might be a thing.
It's just his connection. Wait. The anime took away the pointy ears. Okay, so the anime's to blame again. I was starting to come around. Yeah, you go.
The anime is a problem.
I was starting to come around. Well, I was starting to come around to Team Anime because it turns out anime didn't have wild, and they made the R-word scene horrific and all horror without any sexuality. Like there was no sexualization. So I was starting to come around. But now I'm hearing that they don't have the ears, and I don't know. I don't know if I forgive them anymore.
And the thing is, it's right inside of the goddamn thing. Like, he literally just says out loud, maybe you have some connection to the elves. And then he says...
they're pointing the anime. Fuck. Oh.
And then he says, he goes, what? Even so, I suppose you have no desire to believe in destiny and such. He goes, yeah. So... he's like, yeah, I think you might have a connection to the elves, but you don't have any desire to know about that or think about that. And he's like, yeah, I don't give a shit about that. Let's move on. And so I was like,
Look,
and it would also explain why Puck was so immediately attracted to Guts. Berserk.
Man. The scene with the baby where the baby in early births because it's been corrupted with demonic, that sure sucks. He scrambles away. Casca's pulled back inside. And once again, Kenny Boy is hurting us because he has Casca starting to get a little better over time, which is going to keep that hope more alive because now we've seen her get slightly better.
Now
So if we didn't...
so she could heal.
Yeah. If we didn't see her get any better, we'd have a lot less hope, wouldn't we, Kenny Boy?
You know what I'm very worried about is that he's going to make her weak. She can never leave the mountain. She has to wait until Guts comes heals her.
I mean, I don't blame her for being broken at this point.
No. I mean, later on. Like, she heals... she goes through trauma.
Okay.
I would like to see Skull Dude meet up with her and be like, do you want to meet up with Guts so you can do a fight together? The way she protects the thing, Lav, was one of the grossest.
It was so horrifying.
Things.
God, that was upsetting. You
I
know,
was the unhappy.
you know what fucks me up about it? Because it makes it feel like she can't trust anything anymore, but that's the piece of guts she can still trust because it was a piece of guts he gave her when she could still feel, when she could still trust.
Yeah.
It's like the baby represents the good, the future they could have had. And God, that makes it worse. Everything makes it worse, huh?
Yes. Makes it worse when you talk about it.
The thing is, we get to the one good part, the one happy, cool, awesome part of this entire reading section next, but we have to be so thorough because we don't want to leave it. We don't want to leave this zone once we go in. So we have to make sure we're not leaving anything behind.
The sword moment was so
the sword,
sweet.
it's so fucking sick.
I was so grateful. At first I was like, oh, I was hoping it was going to be like demonic or blah, blah,
Or
blah.
legendary or something.
No. Yeah. And then I was like, no, it is so much better that it comes from this fucking dude. This one doodly dude.
And it's so fucking fitting. Let's talk about the themes of Berserk, motherfucker. How fitting is it that in a series where we're talking about a core theme is that bowing to divinity is a weakness, that this was a blacksmith sick and tired of making impractical things. He wanted to make something with purpose as a young man, and as a sarcastic fuck you, when he's told by a king to make a sword that cuts dragons, he's like, you know, the only thing dragons are to you people is something that a man can't kill, so I'll make a sword a man can't lift. And that's his joke. That's a bit.
Yeah.
And it almost gets him killed, and he persists by pursuing his craft and making practical things. And then
And then along comes Guts and is like, but what if you could lift it? And he's like, are you shitting my donkey right now? Did you just lift my unmovable lifting sword? Motherfucker.
It's just, it couldn't be better. I also thought it was going to be a cool demon blade from hell and that was going to be awesome. But this is way better because it should be human. That's the point. It should be made by a mortal.
And to have it be that, like, Zod sword ended up being, like, meh.
Mm-hmm.
And this sword ends up being his, like, sword that he's going to fight against demons with human sword. And so I can understand why people aren't picking up on the fact that he might be elven and have elven connections. Because you would want to believe that the whole point is that he's a human against devils, because he uses a weapon that is for humans, made by humans.
Yeah. Its whole point was it was a human-made weapon beyond human capability, and he just gutsed up and did it.
But I think that instead, people should look at it as it's a sort of humanity, and that there are lots of elves who have humanity, and that it limits the word humanity to only think of that as being a human quality.
We'll see. I'm curious. I want to see more elves so that we can get into that, because I have to imagine Puck's not the only one we're going to have for the entire series. And I'm very excited to see what it means.
Elf. It can't just be like, all the rest of the elves are shitty and Puck's fantastic. That would be fucked up. I'm not there for it.
We'll see what's up. But God, the fact that it was built as a sarcastic joke is actually perfect. I wouldn't, having seen it, wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh no, it was brilliant. I was so thrilled with it. I was like, we deserve that after the way you did us so dirty with so many things in here. We deserve this moment.
Can we also highlight how fucking awesome the blacksmith is?
He's one of my very favorite characters in this whole damn thing.
Yep.
You know Saturday Night Live, more cowbell?
Okay. More blacksmith?
That's how I feel about the blacksmith. More blacksmith. Every time he comes on, I'm like, more blacksmith.
Dude, this section was hard. This was painful. But fuck, was it good?
Is it understatement day? Are we in understatement day? I didn't know.
Okay, fair. More than painful, more than good. Also,
the fact that Skull Dude named us the Strugglers, though?
Yes.
To be named a struggler by the Skull Dude? I felt so cool.
people were like, you'll know when you're a struggler, and I was like, okay. And then it came, and I'm like, never mind, I know I'm a struggler now.
I was
sarcastic,
"Stop,
but
dude."
I did know. I knew when I was a struggler.
Also, I agree that there's a possibility that the skull dude could be somebody who was like Guts from before.
Yeah, from the way Chad has been acting, especially, it feels that way. I was wrong. He's not like Griffith. I'm glad. I'm glad he's a good boy because I like him. I'm happy to be wrong.
The last time we talked, I was like, "This dude is hot, and I'm unhappy about it." I really hope he doesn't ruin it for me. That's my hope.
I feel that. I'm excited to see where we go from here. I know it's going to be horrible. I know we're going to see darkness. I know we're going to, at some point, here's my new prediction. I think we are going to kill Casca, and I think it's not going to be until Guts has found another reason to keep living.
Ew, I'm not going to predict that yet. I just got through this. It was a lot. I'm going to give myself 5 minutes, but I am excited to keep reading now that I know that he's leaving Casca behind for a minute, so I don't have to think about all the trauma that was done to her.
Yeah, girl.
I'm really excited to just be like, Casca, and I feel bad saying this, like, your trauma's too much for me, but it is. I'm going to need a break from you. And I read it, and then I sat there and was like, did I really just read the place that catches up to the prologue?
Yeah.
Fuck me. That's wild.
Okay. I wasn't feeling this drawing before I added in the blacks. When it was just the inks, I was feeling pretty weak about it, but dropping in the extra black, this is actually starting to come together.
This drawing. You get to feel great about this drawing.
This is actually cool as fuck.
Aesthetic, I always knew that Guts was just running on anger and hate. I think he's forgetting about adrenaline, but yeah.
No.
That was obvious.
We got told in like chapter 1, Berserk.
He said Berserk. Were you?
We know what powers our boy.
Drawk, you get to add another nickel to the pile of little girls being scared of Guts after he saves them.
You're right. This is the third time.
If I had a nickel.
If I had a nickel for every time Guts scared a little girl.
Why are you supposed to be drawing a snail?
What?
Why are you supposed to be drawing a secret snail?
Because one of my favorite demons was the stupid snail demon wandering around the background. I wish I'd saved the place that I had all those screenshots saved so I could show you Demon of the Week. I just, for some reason, felt like I didn't need to save it.
It's like when you come up with a really cool idea and you're like, I can't wait to execute this. And then later you're like, what was that cool idea? I do it with guitar. Songs I want to sing, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to sing this song later. And I don't write it down. And then later I'm like, what was that song I want to sing?
Man. Do we do closing segments on the show? Is that a thing we do on our program?
Yeah, we do. I have a whole thing about it. The very first thing that we do is say Berserk. And then we come up with our favorite monster first.
Protagonist here, protagonist.
We're gonna do it backwards. I knew I was lying, but I forgot Lab was in chat now.
You forgot we have a stage directions.
No, I knew what it was, and I was lying. And then when Lab was like protagonist, I was like, damn it, right? Lab is here. They can tell us. I can't even lie.
Did you know that favorite minor characters just for stream now because Lav cuts it out of the videos?
That's rude. That's so rude. Okay, I'm gonna say that Griffith in this was an A+.
Griffith or Guts?
Griffith. He was an A+. Shit bag. Okay, now that I've got that out of the way, I'm gonna say that Guts in this was S tier.
Like, yeah, he was the best he's been so far. I feel so bad for our boy. He struggled.
Yeah, he was literally the best he has ever been. Absolutely wildly good.
This is the final passing of the torch. He is fully the protagonist. He has been freed from Griffith's shadow.
Yeah. Now, as he's running through the world, whatever Griffith does, he is just the evil enemy.
Yep. Oh, sweet relief.
And I love that for us because I feel like even though Griffith doesn't know that he's in a story, I feel like it's just desserts for Griffith to be like, haha, fuck you. You're not as important anymore. You don't have the potential of being the lead.
Well, oh my God, wait, that's such a meta take. Think about it. This is about him wanting to be the hero, wanting to be the hero, wanting to have everything.
Heroized. Yeah.
He can't be the hero. He's been deheroized exactly because he took a shortcut to his goal. Rather than struggle, he sacrificed. Rather than struggle, he put himself higher.
And so from our perspective as the audience, in doing all the things he did, he just lost any chance of being the hero. And now Guts is the hero. So it's a meta look at it. So that is tier for our Guts boy. Who is my very favorite character in this? I have decided it's Casca.
Casca's number one?
Yeah.
That is so painful, and you're right. And God, I love her, and I feel so bad for everything she went through in this section. But it's not like she didn't get good showings, too. She did so well in so many places.
She got a lot of showings, I'll tell you that right now. She got showed all over the place.
Okay. I hate that was really fucking funny.
Yeah, it was.
It sucks that was a great joke. Oh man, I know you hate it, but I have to give Judo number 2 because his death scene was literally perfect.
I hate him. Kill him again.
I say that despite having now come to more understand your take on him. I think he's flawed, and I still love him as a character. I think he's a great addition to the series. I think he does so much good for the story when he's in. But I've come around to seeing your point on him, that there's some toxicity in how he behaves. I actually agree with you a bit now. However,
I really appreciate it. I do see the struggle for him. I do understand why you appreciate him. But for me, it's just a toxicity that I personally find really reprehensible.
His death was so perfect, though. It was one of the best scenes here.
His death was excellent, and I really enjoyed him being dead.
Okay.
Hey, Dr. Jack said prediction, favorite finger of the God Hand.
Oh, this is for you, because everyone knows what mine is.
Oh, okay. But can I just say
we're going to do that at the end.
Oh, we're doing it at the very end? Okay.
Can I just say prior to that, what finger do you think Griffith is? Is he the thumb?
I think, look, you can see in this image, he's the index finger, because Void is on the thumb. Ubik is floating over the ring finger. Conrad is on the pinky. Fucking Conrad. We didn't talk about how dumb that is. Middle finger is Slan, so he's the index finger.
That's a dumb finger.
That's the best one. He gets the biggest, best one.
I think, honestly, the best one is the thumb. And it would have been super funny if he had given him the thumb, because that's the thing that separates us, blah, blah, blah. The thumb is human. So I was like,
I see.
Okay.
Conrad.
I can choose the next one, and I'm going to choose Rickard.
Rickard for 3. This makes sense.
Yeah. Rickard is like, come on.
Okay, adding this bright orange swirl actually made this so much cooler. I was worried it'd be too much, but holy fuck, that looks sick.
It really did. I think you should use a little yellow on that orange swirl.
I might. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more of the orange, and then I think I'm gonna try to add in a bit of yellow. God, that's sick. I feel so bad because Pippin, you look at the trend and you're like, Hawk solidarity, Hawks all the way down. We got to break the train. Skull Knight beats Pippin. I'm sorry, I love you, Pippin.
Skull Knight beats Pippin for sure.
Skull Knight, I'm here to save everyone.
I feel terrible about it. I'm going to put Pippin in there, but I prefer to put the blacksmith in, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just that Pippin
honestly, I think we do the blacksmith. Honorable mention Pippin. You did more last section than this one. Last one, he got props.
I prefer in this section. I mean, dude made the goddamn sword. I prefer blacksmith. Plus, blacksmith is the one who says to us, choosing to your humanity over some giant goal of greatness is the thing that gives you the greatest life. Because look at his fucking life, hanging out there in Elf Kingdom, safe from the little bitches. Until they showed up, by the way. Like, what the fuck was about that? But I was like, no, blacksmith.
Because the cave is safe, but the outside isn't, I think.
But the outside isn't, yeah. But I was like, blacksmith teaching us that choosing humanity over some glorious goal is the thing that gives you the greatest life.
And I want to say blacksmith also gave us something very important, which is knowing definitively that the robot hand Guts has is groovy.
Oh, that line. It's like, did we just say groovy?
Yeah, it's an Evil Dead reference apparently, but I love it.
Oh god, fucking The Evil Dead. That movie lives in my head rent free. I try to erase it, but I will never forget the morning that they come out of the house. Sorry, not they. She. Oh.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Did we get all of them?
Yep.
I think we did all of those. We do
time.
Best drip, which is today favorite monster because we have monsters.
Best drip is Skull Dude.
Skull Dude wins again for you? Okay.
Come on.
Guys.
Skull Dude.
Guys.
I got her naked breast chick.
I like no, you don't take my girl. I've got, don't worry, Slan's making the list. If you take Slan, Skull Dude won't make the list. So if you want Skull Dude to make the list, let me take Slan.
All right, I'm gonna Skull Dude it up.
Because Skull Dude's not my second favorite. My second favorite is Snail Demon. I'm not joking. He's so funny.
Oh my god.
Although I will say, while I don't like the arc or the character that much, Wild's design is actually fantastic. I might, if it's purely design, Wild might be my second favorite.
Oh, I don't like his design. I think it's okay.
I really like it as just visual design.
The other Skull Dude, the one with the giant brain poking out of his head, is hilarious.
Void is cool.
Void doesn't scare me at all.
Really? He has his face peeled back. He's scary.
No, he looks like the dude from the movie.
I'm talking post-transformation Wild. I think he looks radical. Scary, radical.
I think Void looks like the Mars Attacks dude, and so it's funny to me.
All right. Do you want to say who your favorite of the God Hand is? Wait, are we at the very end? No, we have to do favorite minor character. It's the important segment that everybody loves. Snail Demon.
Oh.
Oh, wait, actually, Fortune Teller. Fortune Teller's favorite minor character. Fuck that.
My favorite minor character in here is Obs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I figured.
Every day. Puck.
Puck's not usually a minor character, so you must be happy that you get to put Puck in this slot.
I was so excited he was a minor character in this one.
Hell yeah. Okay, what else do we have?
Okay,
do we have another
moment of joy?
Moment of joy? I forgot we do moment of joy and tragedy.
Unless you want to do tragedy first.
Oh, God,
my moment
joy
of
is
tragedy
hard.
was the multiple graping of my good great girl, Casca.
Yeah, that's a pretty good moment of tragedy.
Yeah, thank you. I thought so too.
Okay. Do I have to pick a different one?
No,
I actually know what my moment of tragedy is, and it was the realization that Casca was alive and still suffering, and we still have something to lose. That actually, you know what? Actually, oh God, that's hard. Did that hurt me more? I think Judo's death hurt me more than that. I think Judo's death is next, and then I runner up Casca surviving with brain damage.
Mine. I when Judo died, I was like, haha.
Such a jerk.
What you get, dude?
Such a jerk. Such a jerk.
Oh, just you wait until they ruin Puck. He gets flanderized.
Rest in peace.
No.
Rest in peace, Puck.
Hey, you want to know my moment of happiness?
What is it?
Why don't you go first?
Don't do the death of Judo. We both know you liked the death of What's His Fuck better.
No, I do like the death of What's His Fuck better. I'm not.
Yeah. As much as it turned into something tragic, the scene with seeing what life could be like if Griffith gave up and just was a man was so touching. That was my moment of joy. Followed by Dragon Slayer.
Okay. My moment of joy is maybe you have some tie to the elves.
That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good moment of joy. You just like stunting on chat, huh?
It's not just chat. It's YouTube. It's every freaking Berserk fan being like, quit talking about their goddamn ears, you losers.
Like, really obviously, from the way y'all are talking, it hasn't come up in the manga, but I'm telling you that at the end, you're going to be like, I can't believe he did this. Kenny Boy would never. And no, Kenny Boy would have.
Yeah, oh yeah, he would have, baby. Oh yeah, he would have. Ah, God.
All right.
I'm
Okay,
so
now you
glad
can
it's
do
over.
Now you do your
Fave of
prediction.
the God Hand.
Oh, my favorite God Hand is Titty Chick.
That's fair. We agree. She's great.
She's the best.
She's great.
Is she horrifying? Does she
Yeah.
terrify me?
Yeah.
Is she the worst devil? Yeah. She's great. And my second favorite God Hand is oh God. I think it's Void.
Just looks rad.
Even though I
Looks
think
so
it's funny.
fucking-
Even though he's really funny looking, I think it's Void.
Void is cool. I think we have the same favorite too.
Oh yeah? That's
yeah.
not always the way.
No, it's not. I think they have really good designs, both of them. They're good monster designs. Hey everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
DT
so
Man,
much.
for agreeing with the elf thing.
This
Yeah.
was fantastic. Honestly, going over this, as much as the reading was painful, the going over it really fun.
I'm so glad that we finished it because it ate my soul.
Can you imagine going through Berserk on your own?
No, why would you
Right?
ever do that to yourself?
I just can't. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine doing it.
I almost wish that I had gone with you when you did the read through, but you know what?
Mm,
Oh well.
Guys.
Because
Can we thank our crew? And
Oh fuck, we do that.
Manga?
I'm sorry for not looking at the show notes. I'm so tired. I'm so tired, Lav. Thank you for being such a good producer.
Lab is a rockin' rocker
All
in
right.
Rockville.
I'm going to thank the actually first I'm going to thank our top gifters because holy shit, people went crazy today. Haberfax is the winner of the gift off with 60 gifted subs. Insane. It scrolled away too quickly. Congratulations, Haberfax, on winning the gift off. Second place is Stazzy Boy with 30 gifted subs. Then Dr. Jack with 20 gifted subs in third place.
Good God.
Good Lord. Good God, today was a sub-heavy day.
A bunch of 10 gifted peoples.
We did. We had a ton of a ton of 10s. We had 5s. It's not listing through all of those, but good Lord. Now,
if you go into our chat,
crew, what?
Drawk, if you go into our chat,
it's not up to date though because Stazzy Boys was too few, so I can't trust it for everyone else's.
All right.
Yeah. Stazzy Boy had gifted more than it said, so I just didn't want to, because someone might have gifted more. I did
My
see
wayward
that.
son. There'll be peace when you are done.
You give me a number 1 to 23, and I'll send you the name of a special squishy.
I love this game. For real.
For real?
I want number 7.
Number 7. Okay, I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to thank the crew, and then this is yours. Lav, again, thank you for reminding us. This is important. Thank you to the crew, Dark A. Kuro, Dreco Meme, and Dr. Jack. If you want to join the crew, that is the highest tier on the Patreon for $27 a month. If you are there, you can submit anything you want us to read out, and we will read it out during a stream that month. We're also next month starting roundtable conversations, where we're going to invite the crew to talk theories about whatever manga and just have a hangout. Should be great. Scheduling that soon. Want to make sure we get the word out early so that people know ahead of time. Thank you guys so much for being in the Patreon and for your support.
That we have talked now, and one of the things we want to do is I have so many theories in One Piece that I've been going through and creating, like theories coming out of the yin yang now. I can't stop, won't stop. And we talked about us doing theory crafting, and the Patreon's all coming, but the crew gets to be in the actual chat and actually talk with us.
Exactly.
In the speaky chat, not in the writing chat.
Like in the voice conversation.
That's the one. Thank you for the words. I get to thank Dr. GB. What does GB stand for?
Grand Blue. Dr. Grand Blue.
No, Dr. Good Boy.
Dr. Good Boy. Thank you, Dr. Good Boy.
Dr. Good Boy. Oh, God.
That's a normal name you have.
Tonight I'm going to be sitting there and then all of a sudden go, Dr. Good Boy.
Okay. Lav, have we done it? Or my brain is fried. I feel like I can't remember. Is this how you sign off a stream?
Yes. There's a pain-free and a painkiller, and you are good to go as long as you have a raid.
Oak Tea is the best.
Oh, also, thank you so much to our mods. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, mods. Today you guys were on the ball. I was seeing shit happen fast.
Dr. Jack even comes in to talk beforehand and just figures shit out. All of our mods are just like,
we're still figuring out the next arc, so check the Discord.
Okay. There's a debate of what we're reading next. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious. The pace we've done this, where we started slow and then started going fast, I think gave us a lot of time to get into the depth and learn more about the foils and Ken's writing. I'm actually really glad that we sped up here, but that we started slower. I think it gave us a good grounding to go into this because we'd spent a lot of time really thinking in depth about these characters.
We were thanking you, Dr. Jack, and talking about how cool you were. You missed
All right,
that.
everybody. Thank you for being here. We love having you. This was an absolute blast. And until next time,
I'm pain-free.
I'm painkiller. Now you got it. It's been lovely talking to you. I started doing a salute. I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. Bye, everybody.
I read the thing.
Oh, we did it.
Read the thing.